Hello and welcome to Cleave to Antiquity. My name is Ben, and I'm here with a special guest, Neil from Dirt Poor Robins. What's going on, brother?
I'm feeling special. That's it. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on, man. It's been a little while. Last time I saw you, I think was at the J conference, which was
That's
awesome.
right. Yeah, you came to my town last time. You came to my church. You saw my priest beard.
Yeah,
Um, so so there was a funny thing. It was funny. I'll mention this quickly. But my priest, he has like the similar facial hair, and he's roughly the same age as me, maybe a little younger. He looks a little younger anyway. But I just posted a picture of our church, and everybody thought I became a priest. It was a picture of him. And they're like, Neil, you look great in the robes. And like, I had to like do all these disclaimers, and people will not stop commenting that I became a priest. So anyway, but you may have seen how that could happen
yeah.
with Father Vlad. I'm trying to keep my beard shorter than his. I don't know if that's a thing of respect in Russian Orthodoxy or not. But his is like, I need him to keep growing it longer so I can keep growing mine longer,
Th-
basically.
They thought you looked like Father Vlad. You don't look anything alike.
I don't know. Well, we have a gray beard and we're roughly the same age and we're kind of white. So, mostly white.
Yeah, guy with beard, kind of white, same person, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Well, for those who are unfamiliar with who you are, why don't you do a brief intro, and then we'll yap a bit before getting into the subject here.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm Neil Basil Degrade. The Basil came when I became Orthodox. I for the last 25 years I've done music and other jobs off and on. My wife and I have a band, Dirt Poor Robins, right behind me. There's that. Hey, look, I'm advertising our new playlist I just put up on YouTube. If you want to follow our channel, click like and subscribe on the video. So anyway, yeah, Dirt Poor Robins. We're kind of an apocalyptic band, Ben. I don't know how else to describe it. People like to say you're a rock band. Sure, I'm a rock band. But we've got classical influences. We've got ragtime influences. We've got I grew up with like kind of a full musical training to the point where I can compose. So that's kind of not normally intersecting with popular forms of music. So our music tends to be a little richer, like a little more cinematic. Thematically, we've done a strange thing. I've told you a little bit about this before, Ben, but we decided to start doing concept records. Like my favorite thing was always a concept record. I loved, even though it's a loose concept record, I loved the Beatles, Sgt. Peppers. I loved
Yeah.
even like loose concept records like Queen's Night at the Opera, just the sound of it, the overall direction for it. But then also more specific ones like, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd or OK Computer by Radiohead. These albums were like so inspirational to me because I love the idea of the song has an additional context, just like a scene does in a movie. It's not just a standalone thing, like a sketch on SNL. The song the song that came before it, the song that comes after it matter to it. And then and when people become a little bit more familiar with the story, the song will have added impact because it's not just about things in the world. It's also about these specific characters. So, so we do concept records, but there's a weird thing that's happened. And it really kind of started happening. I don't know, like maybe 2010, there was a record we did called The Last Days of Leviathan. And there were some things we had talked about on there that kind of came up in the news afterwards. But the strongest example of that was our album Dead Horse we did in 2019 was about, we envisioned a future world where it was shut down by pandemics. And like globalists use this to start to take control and seed into people's lives the need for AI. And they began to grow AI as this moral therapeutic guide for all of us. And so the story was like a world that was shut down by pandemics and AI was taking over. There was election fraud, all kinds of weird things going on. And then like 2020 hit and we looked like we could see around corners. Now, I assure everybody in the audience, like at no point did a mystical vision come over me. We're just coming up with ideas. And we did that. And then so similar things happen in Queen of the Night. So Queen of the Night, the main character, is our album that came out after that. We have a movie. If you want to see, we're also filmmakers. I'm making another movie this year. I wish I could talk about it, but I have to finish signing the contracts. So the what happened in Queen of the Night, it was like kind of an Elon Musk technocrat figure. And you can watch this movie for yourselves on YouTube on our channel. It's a silent film. And so we did a silent film. We're like, oh, we can really tell the story this time and we can put our music to it because it's a silent film.
Mhm.
But it was before Elon bought Twitter, and the main character goes and he buys this web of control in the world, and he takes out the largest personal loan in mankind's history to ever do it. And I kid you not, like the episode, because we released the movie in episodes for production cost reasons, and like a month after that episode came out, Elon Musk took out the largest loan in the history of the world to buy Twitter. Like, and again, like the whole time this is going on, we're just dumb people writing things that are interesting to us. And it's like, so we get, I think we get like more clout than deserved sometimes for that. Like people will talk to us and treat us like, hey, like give me some advice on my life. We know you see around corners kind of thing. And I
Yeah,
understand
give me
where
the
the album
lottery
came.
numbers. Come on, man.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to grift that. I don't want to farm that. I don't want to pretend like it. But also, I can't. There seems to be something that just keeps happening, and we accept it because it. I know. I don't know why, but I feel like again, apocalypsis is the name of this. We write apocalyptic music, which is meant not just about the end of the world, but apocalyptic. The word apocalypse in Greek, the original root word, talks about unveiling. So apocalyptic literature, which we're actually participating in a musical form, um, is the idea that you use examples in the world like a parable to show the nature of reality, like to unveil something about the nature of reality that would have been hard to see otherwise. And so that's the nature of our approach. That's our approach to lyrics. We use a ton of typology. The typology is very biblically coherent in the sense that I learned typology by studying typology in the scripture for years. So, and then I found Jonathan Peugeot and we hit it off. So, that's kind of what we do. We make films. We do this kind of thing. We run conferences once in a while. As you know, Ben's been to at least one of my conferences, and we got some fun stuff coming up this year, which we can probably get into as we get going here. But backstory wise, I've been Orthodox since 2021, but Orthodox in a larger sense since 2018. It just took us a while to get in because our church was slow with the catechesis process because of what happened in 2020, where the world was shut down by a series of pandemics. So, good times.
So what you need to do next is your next album needs to be about Cleave to Antiquity hits 1 million subscribers. There you go.
Oh. No. Well, we can do that without an album. So now, well, our next album, I don't know if you're familiar with, you met Justin Marler. He came into the conference.
Yes.
So for all you out there, one of the most popular Orthodox videos online, if you haven't seen it, you need to check it out because I love the vibe. Am I wearing one of their shirts? No, I'm not. I'm wearing a Symbolic World shirt. I'm pumping Jonathan Peugeot tonight. He's got a conference. Check him out. So no, what were we talking about again? No, I'm kidding. No, really. What was I going to say? I had a really good point and I just distracted myself.
I'm not sure. I'll try to read your mind. No.
Oh, no, next record. Justin Marler. That's it. Yeah. So this is the first time we're taking on someone else's story. Now we're telling it in our own words with our own poetic sensibility. And his book really isn't like a traditional story in the sense that it's more of a spiritual reflection about your condition in the world we live in, called Youth of the Apocalypse. Love the title, love the book. There's a video that will introduce you to it on the channel Harmony, but also Justin wrote the Deaths of the World video that everybody's so in love with that they send to each other all the time. That's Justin's writing. So we're collaborating together on the record. I'm getting ready to release the first single real soon. And so for me, it was, so this will be a shock to some of the people in our audience because some people like who follow our band only know us from streaming. Like they don't talk to us, they don't like figure out what I believe in. They're not Googling to find out if I go to church or something like that. Right. But this record will be, which is kind of strange for an Orthodox person. It's not like meant to be like evangelical, like it's going to go out and like someone's going to listen to the record and they're going to be like fall on their knees and get saved or something like that. I kind of see it more as medicine for the loneliness and the sickness in this world. It's like, so we're hoping to, expose someone to something better, to make them more ready for the good in the world. So if you ever read the book Youth of the Apocalypse, you can kind of see why it deals with our like death, burial, and resurrection as people in this civilization. And Justin tells it through like a kind of Father Seraphim Rose lens of like, look at what's happening around us. This is, the world's in a place it's never been. Kind of, is this the apocalypse? Either way, we're kind of living like we're in the apocalypse now, especially at this moment. Like, feels like we're on the dawn of WW3, all kinds of things like this. So these trying times are really great times for people who are waiting for an excuse to dive deeper into their faith. Right. So for me, like, it's galvanizing me towards like, I don't want to waste my time. Like I've only had so much time here in this earth. And as an Orthodox Christian, I don't believe there's anything I could put aside in this life that would be like something I can indulge myself with. Some of these, items of luxury or lavishness or even distraction. There's nothing I could give up and sacrifice in this life that I wouldn't get something better in the next. I mean, this is
Yeah.
promised explicitly in scripture. But even for us, like I know there's a lot of Orthodox guys out there trying to find a wife, and you're not going to miss out on anything. The marriage here is a beautiful, wonderful thing, but it's a shadow of what is to come. Everything's a shadow of what is to come at its best. So I think the time, like people need to use these times to dive in hard and look for those things they've been lazy about and slow about. That's what I'm doing. And man, it feels good. It feels like I'm at church. I'm going to be at church 20 hours this week singing. It's, it's Holy Week for us. So hopefully I don't lose my voice tonight, but we sing in the choir, and there's no way like 20 years ago you could ever imagine that I would want to be there that much. But,
Well,
I found heaven on
you guys
earth.
have an amazing parish. I mean, when I was there, Father Vlad's awesome. The choir is awesome. It's a unique atmosphere at y'all's parish. I really like it. I'll have to come back and visit sometime soon again.
So it's a weird parish because it's super small. We're in a rental space still, right? And it's like my wife and Kate, we just started going there. Jay and Jamie Dyer go there. So it's like it's weird. Father Vlad's amazing. He's like a legend, especially when it comes to some of the artistic pursuits. He studied in Florence, and he's a wonderful, brilliant Russian artist and priest. So it's a really great spot if you're like an artist. I mean, I've never gotten counsel like I get from Father Vlad on our career. It's so hard to
Yeah.
make sense of it. It feels so fraught. Our job feels like such a dirty job. Like pop
Yeah.
music is so vain. Rock music is, it is what it is. We all know what it is. So I constantly need guidance because I feel like, in the spiritual sense, I work in sewers. Like I have to work in the culture, and I have to navigate the culture, and I have to look at the culture a lot to be able to understand it and it to be native to me without it taking us over. So Father Vlad's been a really great help for that.
Yeah, he's awesome. I had I had some really good conversations with him at the Supra and things like this. So he still texts me every now and then. He's very, very nice
What
guy.
a guy. Yeah,
I know, right?
he's a busy man too. So he's wonderful. And what else are we doing with our parish? Well, the choir's growing, and I don't know. So I'm talking about this with my kids because, like, what I've learned an important thing because when you go to a Russian church, they do confession more normally.
Right.
So at a Greek church, sometimes it's like quarterly. I didn't think anything of that, but like in a Russian church, it's kind of expected that you're just in a constant mode of confession. So I'm there virtually every week, and it's been such a wonderful help because I didn't realize like all these things that like we let in make us not want to do good things. So in other words, if you're not hungry for the good things, what have you been eating? And I'm learning just even like after like I'm this many years old, however old I look, you decide. So I'm this many years old, and I'm just learning for the first time, like if I don't like go and do stupid stuff, if I don't waste my time, like, saying things I shouldn't say, thinking things I shouldn't think, looking at things I shouldn't look at, that the thing I know I ought to need to do, which is church, you can't keep me out of it. So it's when I'm off the rails a little bit is when I'm kind of like I'm sitting at church and I'm distracted and I can't get into it. So I really feel like when people like C.S. Lewis was talking about, he says like for this life it'll be for some people it'll be the closest to heaven they ever get, and for some people the closest to hell they'll ever get. For the people going the other way, but also I think you can take that farther. Is that you can start experiencing heaven right now. Like you can start to experience that civilization and what it's like and its seed form. And in fact, it's also like we have to understand is like if we don't like it, if we don't like Christian fellowship, if we don't move into these things, and again, Ben and I are obviously Orthodox talking about this, it's a bad sign for your personal condition because the things you're avoiding are the things of eternity, which are going to bring us eternal joy. But you can have those things now, and I'm learning that. And so it's such a delight to learn from my previous form of Christianity that it wasn't just like me and my personal, all my personal thoughts and my personal decision and my personal relationship, that there's a community of believers. And beyond that, like we see in the book of Hebrews when Paul talks about this cloud of witnesses, and we see in the book of Revelation when John is talking about the martyrs offering up prayers around the altar and the service we see there, to learn that there's this church triumphant, and that like it's not unlike the Force in the sense that like strike me down and I shall become stronger than ever, and the idea that it's like, you know, our Obi-Wan Kenobis are here and they're still part of the family, and Satan is losing really bad. Without spiritual eyes, you can't see that. You don't realize that everybody who's gone is still participating in the life of the church, who was in the church. So
Right.
this it really calmed me down. I mean, I'm kind of talking tangentially here, but uh it took me out of the realm of like politics is where I need to change things. You know, that kind of mindset. It's like, oh, I need to change society. I need to change the world. And it's like, no, it starts here. I
Yeah.
have to I have to do this. And then if I commit to it fully, it will affect my music and it will affect the things I write about. And that will affect other people who are part of it. So you know, it begins with this real strong commitment to the church, but also this idea that like it's not a futile battle in the world. Like we look at the world and we think, oh, it's so futile. But from the Orthodox perspective, it's yes, the world's hard. We don't ignore the struggle. We don't ignore the difficulty of it. But from what we can see with the senses that are beyond our eyes, that are painted into our church because our senses are too weak to see it, that we're surrounded by this cloud of witnesses. We have all this help. And it's so encouraging to be a part of this church now. I'm kind of excited. I don't know. I sound kind of cheesy talking about it sometimes because I get a little giddy.
No, man, it
But
it
it's
is
not wearing off. It's getting stronger all the time.
it is super exciting. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, my priest was saying something along the lines you were saying earlier about, you know, the way that we approach the liturgy today is honestly kind of reflective of the state of our soul at the moment.
Yeah.
Because in the next life, it's, well, if you enjoy the liturgy, right? I mean, you're going to be doing a lot of that in the next life.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of two different experiences for um a person whose soul is dispositioned closer to the will of God, as opposed to the person whose soul is dispositioned towards the things of the world. Right, the
Yeah.
afterlife might be
Yeah.
like a hellish experience for you if you absolutely hate doing the things of God. You hate the liturgy. You hate being around other Orthodox Christians, so on and so forth. So I think these are the things that I'm super concerned about working on myself during this Holy Week. And as you were saying, like as we get closer to these, like, these trials and things are going on geopolitically or whatever, it really is kind of a call to look at the things I need to root out in my own life,
Yep.
and do some house cleaning, so that way I'm in a state appropriate to move into that next state if anything were to happen.
Hey, you're getting good advice.
Yeah,
You're getting very good advice. Yeah. No, that's great. So you know, oh, I want to tell people how we met. I think that's
yeah.
kind of funny
Let's do
story.
that.
Yeah. 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 So I'm working on a film called Christianities with Father Peter Heers. And this was probably last April. Might have been around this time, but we're having a phone conversation. So in the movie Christianities, we're gonna get we're gonna look to see what the world thinks in 2026 of Christianity, like asking people on the street, what is a Christian? What is the church? What is the Bible? Talking to people of all different backgrounds. So we spent a long time kind of researching like who, like in the Protestant, Catholic, world, in the Mormon, Jehovah Witness world, whatever world it was, who are we going to ask to find out about their beliefs? Because what we're going to do is we're going to take what's going on now, and then we're going to go back to the first century and look to see when Jesus handed off the football and who kept it, kind of, if you want to take that low analogy. So we were working on that, and so I was throwing a bunch of names together, and I had a long list I had sent to Father Peter. Now I don't remember who was on the list. I'd asked other people for the list, so I'd call my friend like Ruslan. Who do I want to interview? I talked to a lot of people outside of Orthodoxy, and I sent him the list, and he was like, "Hey, just so you know, some of these people on this list, and it wasn't just you. Not to spoil the story, but there are some people on this list, Neil, that aren't that are becoming Orthodox. Like we can't you're not going to have them as a Protestant perspective. Like they want, like, somebody's already called me. So anyway, all what he did to me right there is he put me, I think he was trying to protect someone. So, but my stupid brain didn't realize that, and I start looking back through my list and looking for names, and I'm watching stuff. And so when I go back and I'm watching YouTube, and Kate, and a video comes up we had watched a while ago on Ruslan's channel where you're on there and you're talking about, you're reading these Marian prayers, and like you're kind of talking about Our subject, which in Catholicism would be Mariology or
Right.
something like that. So I liked what you were saying. Not that I agreed with what you were saying. I liked it was something special that you actually tackled an orthodox idea. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but nobody, like, people talk about orthodoxy without talking about orthodoxy. Like, they'll talk
Yes.
about Catholicism or their idea of orthodoxy, and then they'll say that's stupid, and then they'll move, or he'll talk about a Catholic thing they don't like, and they'll just throw us in there. This happens so often, and you were actually like was the Akathist of the Theotokos you were looking through?
Yeah,
Theotokos?
it was that the Great Canon of the
Yeah.
Theotokos. Yeah, both of
Great
them.
Candy, yeah. So I'm watching this. I was like, you know what it's like to be Orthodox now. You kind of get bugged when people are saying bad things, about Our Lady. And so I'm a little irritated, but Kate's like, you know what? This guy, we watched it when it first came out. She's like, he's actually reading those things. I was like, Kate, you're onto something there. So when I saw you come back up, I watched and I was like, oh, what? He's actually reading these things. And then I went and poked
Yeah.
around your Twitter for like 5 minutes, and I was like, he's changed his position on a couple of things. This is the guy. So I asked Ruslan. So now I'm an idiot. I'm not even thinking. Like, I'm like, oh, let me ask Ruslan. I said, hey, is your friend Cleve Antiquity? Is he becoming Orthodox? Like, I think he had some kind of experience or something, because like he seems to be changing direction. And Ruslan was like, hey, no, 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 it's not happening. Well, anyway, he texted you, who you texted Father Peter, and then Father Peter texted me to be like, Neil, is this you telling Ruslan this? I was like, oh my gosh, I've let the cat out of the bag. And Ruslan was super cool, right? When he found out he didn't do
Right.
anything, except something kind of cool is that when he came to Florida, he brought you to meet me. And this is kind of before you had come out and talked to everybody online and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really good move on Ruslan's part. Like, I
Yeah, that
think
was
I
nice.
think that, like, he's a good friend, and it was a really friendly thing for him to do for you. Um, but anyway, that was so I kind of, hey, seeing around corners, I kind of figured out you were going to come out as Orthodox before you did, and then almost took it out of your hands. I'm sorry about that.
Well, what was interesting was when Ruslan reached out to me. This was like a a day or two after that experience had happened. So it was like fresh. I was still processing things. So he reached out to me and I was like, well, to be honest, yeah, I did kind of have an experience. And he called me and
Oh, it
we
was that fast. I didn't
yeah.
realize it.
And
Okay.
he FaceTimed me. He was like, I don't remember. He was like out and about doing something. He FaceTimed me and we were chatting. And I was like, look, I really don't know what to make of this, but I just want to be honest with you. Yeah. I was like, so, I'm mulling some things over at the moment. And then when we met, that was what, like a week or two after, I think, that
Yeah, yeah, it was
conversation
really
or something.
soon, like 2 weeks. Yeah.
But yeah, Ruslan's been a good friend. He's still a good friend.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what he and I do? Like, I think he tests arguments out with me or stuff for his channel. Like, we'll go back and forth, like, kind of fun. Like, I like it.
Mhm.
I don't. We'll do like some little verbal sparring about ideas, and then like get together and hang out, get some food. I don't know. I think that's what our relationship is. Like, we've stayed up until like late in the morning talking about stuff, and so yeah, we kind of battle back and forth. But it's kind of cool because we still help each other out, and so we have a fun relationship. I appreciate him for that reason. I know people like, Orthodox people, obviously his channel is going to look a little like weird to us, but outside of that, I think he's a great guy. I
Yeah,
have no
yeah.
problem with him as a guy. Yeah.
Well, I still maintain friendships with a lot of the different, Protestant people I used to associate with. It's just they know I disagree with their theology. That's it. Like
Yeah.
Redeem Zoomer, I'm still friends with. Um,
Wow.
so but yeah, I mean he just came out on X and Cameron Bertuzzi was calling me out for something. Yeah, the old Trent Doherty debate that I had. Did you ever see
Oh
that?
no, no, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cameron Bertuzzi came out and he was like Cleve is actually the bad guy here because he's trying to rehab Trent Doherty's image. So he's doing all the interviews and stuff. He was just on Matt Frad's show. Now
I
he's
know. I
doing
can't believe Matt, because like Matt's whole thing is like he doesn't like the mean people, and Trent Doherty. I a playful nickname for him. So when I was a Catholic as a little kid, they had casino night, which was like a really weird thing. So basically, as a fundraiser, they'd have a casino, and then all the adults would come and gamble and drink, and then they raise money for the church. Even as a kid, that felt weird to me, but I felt like Trent Dougherty was like the embodiment of casino night for Catholics. So that's his nickname for me. I just call him Casino Night. So you called him
casino
Trent
night.
Dougherty. It took me a minute to figure out. Oh, he's talking about Casino Night.
Yeah.
Because he's all like, you know what you know what he's like. It's like you wouldn't necessarily think this is a pious gentleman. Not that I judge him for that, but
Well,
he's
did
got a
you
way of
see?
coming across.
I had forgot. I had forgotten until somebody posted this. But Trent Doherty in his debate with Jay was like flashing money in front of the camera,
I
like
know that's where I came up with the name. That's the exact moment where he's like
he's
$1,000. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's
He was
casino
like,
night.
I'll fly you out to fight me. I'll fly you out.
He's Catholic casino night. You should cover Catholic casino night someday. I
Oh
wonder if they still
man.
do it.
So Bertuzzi was calling me out, and he was like, Cleve is actually the bad guy here. Okay,
Yeah.
Cleve made Trent crash out by pointing out the obvious, that his the point that I was making in the debate was, because the debate was Vatican II. For those of you that are not aware and you've never seen this debate, most of my audience has, but there was a debate about a year ago with me, Trent against Trent Doherty. Trent Doherty teamed up with Danny Philtalk, who's an atheist, and on my side was JP Uncut, another Protestant guy. And we were debating Vatican II. Do Muslims have the same God? So we got to the subject of ecumenism, because Vatican II is basically made this more formalized in their theology. Trent Doherty had made a number of statements throughout the debate. He said Hindus had the same God as Catholics. He said, who else? A bunch of different groups. And then he said atheists as well. So I read through a bit of Romans, and I said, well, this is a logical result of your radical ecumenist theology. You're willing to team up with a bisexual atheist to defend your beliefs. But anyway, so
yeah. No, but you didn't say what you said. What the guy says about himself, like it wasn't like. I
yeah,
guess in the context, it's pejorative.
that was his label that he put under his name.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
anyway, so but Bertuzzi came back and he said that me doing that like line in the debate was like too far or something. But he got like 4 likes. Everybody had seen the debate. This was Trent Doherty had like crashed out. He was flipping me off. He was using foul language. He was doing ABC 1, 2, 3, which it doesn't really bother me, but they made him look bad in the debate. And then he left. He left Danny to debate by himself. And what was funny was me and Danny have a great relationship. You know, like we still like I have set up debates for him after the fact that he's done and things like this. So we have a good professional relationship. He's a professional debater. So he stayed and did the entire, thing by himself. So
there it is.
I mean, I got respect. I got respect for Danny. Trent Doherty was not a professional debater.
Whatever it is. I kind of like, I don't even look. I don't think we're supposed to look at what's happening on these little screens like real life. I think so when I watch that kind of stuff, that doesn't bother me. I'm not scandalized by this guy flipping you off or yelling. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's like pro wrestling. Like, I mean, people pretending to hit each other with chairs. If you and Trent got together, it'd probably be cordial. You know what I mean? Like, this is how these things work. I've been around all these people in real life. They kind of get along. Like, I haven't seen any fist fighting. Not that they agree. They're honest about their theological differences. But this online space, especially the debate space, it's similar to like what you do with music in the sense that like, or if I write a story, like I'm trying to make up something like that doesn't exist to help you see the truth. Like a debate can be wild and truth come out of it, right? The audience just kind of needs to know that it's something different. It's still television. Like, even though they're 2 people having a conversation, is unscripted, it's still television, everybody. Like, just enjoy it and like get what you can out of it. And it's just a confusing space because at the same time, like someone like Jay is very funny and he goes off the rails, but he can say very serious things and make very serious points at the same time. I think that's a strength of what everyone's doing. Like, I think that's the strength of it. I think it's a silly idea to try to clean it up and make it only professional or only only noble. Like, sure, there's like, I mean, by all means, there could be an opportunity for someone to start the Noble Debate channel where none of these shenanigans are going on. But I don't think that's particularly fun.
Well, that was supposed to be Bertuzzi's show, and he was commenting, he was mocking JP. He said, "You're not moderating, well, or whatever." And JP was like, "What do you mean? Like, you're critiquing my moderation?" And he showed the picture of the debate with Jay and Trent on his show, where Trent was waving the dollars in the camera, threatening to fight Jay. So it's like, you didn't step in there, but He says you're defending your theology with an atheist, and that's too far. Whoa.
I think
Yeah.
Trent's wrong. I think Jay could take him. I think if he went after Jay would take him down. So I think it would go doubly bad for him because Jay wouldn't start the fight, but he'd win it. That one too. So
Well,
what
you
can
know
he
what's
do?
funny? You know what's funny about that? Me and Trent Horn, back when I was a Protestant, we had messaged each other because we both do jujitsu, and we were going to do a jujitsu debate. So we were going to debate, and then we were going to grapple. He was going to call it like grappling with theology or something, like some kind of series. And he was going to try like Gavin Ortland to do jujitsu for the first time and all this kind of stuff. It never came to pass, but I always thought that was like a really neat idea for.
Dude, we should do that. We should come up with like an absolutely wacky like game show debate channel and just take it over the top. Everything that people complain about, just do more of it. No, I think, you know, so people have a point when they're talking about like, you know, okay, so someone said a bad word or someone did a mean thing. Maybe someone will use that as a justification to copy them. Like that's a real thing. But at the same time, it's like, you know, so like, you know, what's his name? Trent, the other Trent.
Horn?
Yeah. You know, so I just think he's a bad example in general. And then he pointed out like bad words as like Jay going to hell. That is
Yeah,
so
that was not
that
good.
is so like, I mean, that is so typical of the world people think we live in. Like we're kind of already out of that world. Like the idea that you can just go around and like pick something as innocuous as like swearing. Because like, so, you know, the difference between swearing and saying, let's say, something perverted, that's a big difference, you know. So in the or the idea of actually saying something with malice or
Right.
harm, because like, you know, obviously, so in Jay's tweet where he tells him to F off, he's doing that as like an acceleration of the thing that Trent thought was bad. He's like, hey, not only do I not think that was bad, I don't think this is bad.
Yeah.
Right. And so because the idea is in a swear word that this is low common people language. I mean, listen, you're not going to be a sailor on the edge of the world in the 1800s and not cuss like a sailor because you're literally like on the edge of the world battling death every day. You know, you need that kind of bravado and that kind of backup for it. But
Yeah.
these
This was a
words,
good
like,
point. Laura says,
yeah.
can't say bad words because you'll go to hell, but you can be a Hindu and go to heaven. That was something that Trent actually said. He was saying like, oh, these other people in other religions, you know, they can actually be saved. And but if you say bad words, this is way too far. I mean, it's ridiculous, I think.
No, I think so too. And then meanwhile, like Bishop Barron was, you know, he posted a sermon the other day where he was kind of making a case for Judas's repentance.
Yes, I
And I
saw
was
that.
like, dude, what a freaking crazy train to go down as a bishop. It's like, and then because I mean, in Catholicism, I think I'm right because I was catechized as a Catholic as a kid, but I felt like most of the times, like, you know, you taking your own self out was a mortal sin unless there was like a mental illness present. So it was a weird thing to justify, like to try to even justify repentance and
Right.
mortal sin. Not this is not my perspective, of course. I'm just talking about from his perspective.
Well, Barron
And
said
then
all sorts of weird, like
he's
universal
slipping in weird stuff, dude.
Yeah.
He's slipping. Father Ripperberger slipped in weird stuff on like some of these calls. Everybody's so excited about his thing. It's like, dude, he literally told people how to get possessed.
Right.
Like if you were like, I hate to even repeat it, but if you listen to it, I can't imagine someone like kind of telling you how it goes down and how it happens. Like I guess the idea is you're trying to ward them off of it, but at the same time, it's in the context of him talking about people like Peter Thiel and these like technocrats who have like their little daemon that goes along with them and gives them technological secrets. So it's like I felt like it felt like such a misstep. But not only that, I think it's crazy to think that like you have the discernment to talk to Satan if you're really talking to Satan and know what he says is true and what is a lie.
I talk to Satan and he tells me things. That's a big red flag. He's been saying that for years, though. It was like what are you're getting like you're getting advice from Satan? What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, and I only imagine this is pure speculation that maybe I'm imagining that something to do with his ordination and designation as an exorcist, that he has some sort of spiritual discernment in the matter, or that he can force them to comply and tell him the truth. It just seems so unhinged, but people think it's super cool at the same time. Like everybody wants to talk about it because he does lead off with some patristic stuff in there. Like when he talks about the origin of, you know, the fall of the demons and stuff like that. He jumps right into modern lore, things I've learned from demons because they told me it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, like there's no stopping like what's going on in the world. It's like
Well, it's
everything's
like
coming out of the cracks all at once.
I don't know. I think some of that is I think some of that is a delusion, to be honest. But
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
because I mean, if you're I mean, look at what all the patristics say. Don't believe anything a demon tells you. Don't believe anything a
yeah.
demon tells you. Don't make deals with demons. Don't get info from them. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. What does he do? They can't get
No, yeah,
me.
yeah. Dude, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
Um, no, it's not good. I watched that because I have a friend who, because Father Ripperberger was on our list for the movie too. So I'll
Oh
probably end
yeah.
up talking to him at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he's a real little guy. It's really cute in person, but at the same time, like watching his body language, like you learn to tell, like there's tells when people are lying or under distress. He has like one distress thing he's doing with his body language. He does these
Mhm.
triple blinks once in a while, which is a weird pattern. So like when people are
Interesting.
stressed, they'll blink a lot. But as far as when he's talking about like the actual exorcisms and stuff like that and the things they told him, he's doing this thing very consistently. You can watch him do it where he'll look down to here and he's trying to replay the events. It's a different thing than when people try to remember a lie. Like they do something different with their body. Now,
Mm.
again, this is all speculative, but body language is still pretty consistent in the sense that we have like a limbic system that before we know to stop it, when you tell someone to something and they have a reaction and then they change
Right.
their tone about it, like there's a dead giveaway, and especially like in this area of people, like what they do with their neck and how they hold their head, like
Yeah.
there's all these giveaways.
When I'm about to lie, I tug my ears 3 times and I blink really fast. No.
You're good at this.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I watched his interview, I was like, dude, the crazy part is like he thinks he's being honest, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he thinks he's lying. I just think I think the whole endeavor, the whole project is
Yeah.
insane.
I'd like to. I mean, if I ever had the opportunity, I'd like to pick his brain because the things he said in that last Tucker interview were interesting.
Yeah.
I'll talk about this a little bit, and then we'll get into the Easter stuff and some of your
Oh, yeah, yeah.
background. I think will be interesting.
Okay.
But he said something in the Tucker interview, the last one, that he was like, the demons told me the Catholic hierarchy are involved in like demonic rituals and like all this other stuff, and they're all corrupted and things
The
like this.
Vatican,
Yeah, that's what he said. He said
like
the
almost all the way to the top.
right. That's what
Possessed.
he was saying. So
I know.
I'm like, I want to know what you do with that info. I want to know for you, what is the next step? You know what I mean? Like if you're saying the entire Vatican is corrupted, that there's like they're doing demonic rituals and the demons have told you this, what do you do with that? You just sit there and like, what are you gonna do? They got demons.
Well, they might do it. Yeah, well, he might be doing, again, like we're in the realm of speculation, and so none of this is.
It was Sean Ryan. You're right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Sean
Laura.
Ryan. Yeah, the Sean Ryan one was he that was a little darker than the Tucker one, although Tucker had some dark moments. Um, I think he might be doing something like a number of Catholic people I've talked to over the years where they're trying to save it. Some of the apologists we talk to who are more based, and some of these people they know the problems. They don't want to talk about the problems necessarily. Father Ripperberger didn't seem to mind.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people just dodge around it. They'll make excuses for it, and then they think, but they agree with us, and they're trying to fix it. So, like the people I know that, like at a time where I was kind of more ecumenist, like I would talk to my Catholic friends, like their thing was fine, my thing, everyone's thing was fine. They were more open about the problems in their church because I was always talking about the problems in my churches. So, I was always in my churches to fix them too. Like I was always trying to get back to that Reformation project of getting back to what was actually given to us.
Right.
So
yeah, I think there are some figures that are a little more open about these things. Tim Gordon would come to mind.
yeah.
Michael Lofton is becoming more honest he about this type of stuff. He used to be a real bad Pope splainer. Now he calls it out. He just seems like he's like I'm sick of Pope splaining.
Yeah.
It's burned him out, I think. But
and I think they're afraid and they discourage each other from that because like there's a way like we gaslight ourselves sometimes. Like, you're in a relationship with people you're around or you're stuck with people. And like me, I'm optimistic. So I try to like put a positive spin on things, but I will just totally ignore bad character traits in people, like for the sake of utility or for just to get along. Like I'll gaslight myself, be like, no, what are you talking about? They're fine. Someone's like trying to warn me about it, And I'm like, no, they're fine. And then you stop gaslighting yourself. You're like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I can be friends anymore. So this is what I think people are afraid of when they actually stop to acknowledge the problems, because that could be the thing that makes you wake up to the whole thing. And that means you're uprooting your family, you're uprooting your children. It's a big life change
Yeah.
to move out of something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
is we are seeing more and more Roman Catholics becoming Orthodox lately. In my parish especially, I've seen a
Hmm.
lot of this, especially people coming from the trad cat side of things.
Yep.
They've been coming to my parish almost every week. And it's interesting because I'll sometimes they'll recognize me and they'll come up to me at coffee hour and I'll have conversations with them, which is kind of cool. And I'm like, okay, I'm not used to like people knowing who I am and I don't know them, but this is neat. But
Yeah,
I
no,
like I
that is
like
the
hearing
weird
their
part of it. That you
stories.
don't know them. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like hearing their stories about like, oh, well, I was sold one thing online. I go to the churches and then ABC 123 scandal happens. We've been kicked out of our parish. We'll go to like a fellowship hall with the TLM and things like this. And, we've had to like do that for like the last 2 years. And we're just like, you know what? After all of this, and there's more and more Pachamama scandals coming out. There's more and more Vatican scandals coming out. It's like there's only so much that you can do and take and sign off on. I
Yeah.
think it really does wear down. But anyway, let's move into we're going to get into some Easter videos. Why don't you give them a intro on kind of your background in the evangelical music industry and these types of things? Because I think that's
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I got a lot to say about that. So my family, my dad was in entertainment. He had like pretty much most of my life as a kid. He had the number one radio show in Southern New England. So I was born in Connecticut, grew up in Rhode Island. Area of the country when I was born was 70% Catholic, probably maybe in the high 60s at the time, because that number dropped dramatically as I lived there. We were raised Catholic. I think my parents started taking it seriously when I was about 3 or 4 because they were having trouble. So we would start to go to Catholic church, and it was strange for me. At the same time, because I was so unreligious, really, at the first time I ever went into a church, I was kind of fascinated by it. Like, it seemed very strange to me that everybody was in a room and the thing we were all looking at was a guy on the cross. That was uh like I couldn't stop looking at the cross. And I was like, it was a very realistic one, like they have in Catholic churches. Sometimes you
yeah,
could see the nails going into the hand. It was a three-dimensional wooden sculpture. It was beautifully done, and there was even like swelling around like the piercing wounds and stuff. And I remember sitting there like just being fixated on it. I was like, there's something to this. Although, I went on to have a Catholic experience as a kid in a Catholic school, and it went okay for me. It did not go great for a lot of my friends. Like, our state was in the middle of a scandal. I think I told you about this. I don't want to talk about these things too much. My entire high school, they had a Catholic bishop that was like taking vulnerable boys out and,
mm,
doing things with them, and he was getting away with forever, and everyone was covering for him. So this kind of busted in my state, and like you saw that 70 goes to 60, go to 55, go to 50, within now, I don't even know what the percentage is. You could look it up, but like in like just the state of Rhode Island, it's got to be like 30 or less, I'm imagining.
yeah,
And I don't think many of those people go anymore. So it really rocked Catholicism. It did not, as a kid, it did not have any effect to drive me towards nihilism or atheism. I just thought they were messed up people who could be everywhere. I didn't know. So I
right,
didn't take the experience that this was a direct result of their religious practices. Um, but then I started to learn in Catholicism as I was getting a little older, this was widespread. There was a widespread problem with this, and um, it seemed to be had something to do with the system itself to me. Now, whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. I can't make that's too high of a decision for me to make. I don't know what's going on everywhere in the Catholic Church. That's just how it occurred to me anecdotally at the time. And so I started putting feelers out because I was really into spiritual things. I wasn't spiritually practicing, but conceptually I had this problem. So I was a musician, and I was 12, 13. I started playing guitar, showed signs that this was going to be a thing I did with my life pretty fast. People like to tell kids they're prodigies and geniuses and stuff like that. But every time I tried to sit down and write a song, it would come out like some kind of Christian idea would come out of it. And I was like really in it for like the girls and stuff. So it was very troubling to me that it was like I was having intrusive Christian thoughts. that makes any sense. So
Mm.
like Christianity was getting in places I didn't want to go. And I ended up going to an uncle of mine had a non-denominational church, which was kind of Pentecostal. And I ended up going up there because they invited us. He said, hey, our youth group doesn't have any guys. It's all girls. We need some guys to come to our church. It was pretty tricky, but it worked on me and my brother and my cousin. We all went to church. And we're like, oh, let's see who these girls are here. And it was a Pentecostal church, and somebody prayed over us and prophesied over us, and it was super weird, but also it was like, I could do this for a while. Um, our band, so my brother and my cousin and I, we were again like supposed to be musical prodigies or something like that. That's what people told us, but we had already formed a band, and we were like, I was playing in, clubs and gigs and getting snuck in the back door because I was too young to places, so I'm playing at like 3 a.m. My parents think I'm staying at my friend's house, and it's like, this drunken adult party I'm playing at like 15. So that band became like radically born again Christian right away, to my own discomfort. Like, as much as I was into Jesus, it felt so wrong to me. And because we would do this thing, I think they read stories of people like Keith Green and some other radical Christian musicians where they would just stop in the middle of a song and be like, somebody here needs to hear this. And then they would go into like an altar call.
Yeah.
And to everything in my sensibilities was like, this is not like this. I thought that's how people got saved, and it was still uncomfortable for me, if that makes sense. Like, it just felt so cheap. It felt cheap to think that we could just come in to say a couple of things, and then people are going to make a life-changing decision and hold to it, and that they came to see a concert, and here we were preaching at it, and people would get pissed too, and we would wear that like a badge of honor, like we were tough. But the thing that really kind of got me off of it was, one, is that I started reading the Bible, and I couldn't find things like altar calls in the Bible and stuff like that. So that was troubling to me, because we were a sola scriptura group. And then one time, I remember we were in Lowell, Massachusetts, and we had played a big summer concert there. Our band would do like we were one of the bigger Christian bands in New England, and we did a big concert there. And I remember so many people came up that responded to this call, and I was excited to come back to Massachusetts again, because I was going to get to see these people 6 months later, and there were none of them. None of these people were anywhere to be found, and I finally found one. So after we played a gig, I went outside, and there was a guy smoking a cigarette, and I recognized him because he was literally wearing the same shirt and hat, and he had these like studded bracelets. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy. And I won't say his name, but I actually remembered his name. And I talked to him for a minute. I was like, dude, like, what's going on? Like, how's it going? He's like, it's all right. He's like, hey, man, I tried that Christian thing. It didn't work. He's like, it didn't work at all. He's like, I just went, I was like, I got home and I prayed, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I went to bed, and I felt weird. And then I woke up, and I was like, what do I do now? And, I went to this church, and it was weird.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm not a Christian. So he's like, I tried it. It didn't work. What you said didn't work. And I'm like, I didn't say it. Those guys said it. I would have said it better. No. But anyway, that was that aspect of it. So I immediately set about, once I got married, like trying to fix the church, like an individual reformer. So I took jobs at churches, and that I liked, that I thought were better than other churches in the non-denominational or in the denominational world. Like, I wasn't afraid of a denomination either. But as we would work at every church, we'd do things like take over the youth group program, or like the worship ministry, like playing the music. It just always felt off the rails. It always felt like wrangling cats. It always felt like we were trying to entertain people who didn't want to be there. As someone who was a rock musician myself, it was impossible for me to separate what was being imported into the church. So the first time I ever played electric guitar in a church, it was a church that was skeptical about it. And I was only like 16. And I told my pastor, who was my uncle, I said, this song needs a guitar solo. And he's like, I think we could try that. We could try a guitar solo. And I was like, cool. So I got my distortion pedal ready. I'm ready to grip my toes to the edge of the stage. And mind you, by 16, I could already like you go on YouTube and you watch like kids shred like that. Right. I could do that. And the solo came on, and I went to the edge of the stage, just like you do at a club, like basically with my toes wrapping around as close as I could get to that audience, holding my guitar out, and just started ripping. And the girls started screaming like it was a concert, like immediately, like no delay. It was just instantly screaming and hands coming up. And I looked back at my uncle, and he looked at me, and we're like, oh no, what have we done? And I learned something important that day, is that if you borrow from the world, you get what comes with it. Like you just get it. Like everybody knows what to do with the stage and music and rock bands. And so, but I didn't quit. I thought it could be fixed. I spent a lot of time in the Christian music industry, and I'll just fast forward that story quickly so we can get onto this. Because I ran a lot of these Easter pageants and put on productions and did ridiculous things. I think they were done as well as we could have. Um, but there was this like real need to be entertaining and exciting that was always exhausting to me. But it was like CCM that kind of did me in on Christian music, period, because I never, honestly, for Kate and myself, my wife Kate, she's a singer in Dirtpool Robbins, we were never like happy trying to do Christian worship like that. It because it's never as good as normal music. It just isn't. Like
Yeah.
where you're copying U2, it's not as good as U2. Everybody was copying like U2 and Coldplay. It was like, and it was like bad. It was like Timu Coldplay. You know, it was just, and we weren't getting there. And plus we had all these rules we had to follow. We had like the lyrics had to be in a very specific spot, that the chords couldn't be challenging, the key of the song couldn't be too challenging. Like I get these restrictions, but what we were presenting to people was super lame. And then there was still this problem where you were talking to the worship leaders. They're always trying to figure out how to not make it about themselves, because what they're doing is standing on a stage, singing into a microphone, playing guitar or whatever it was in front of in front of an audience. We know what that is. So when I got into Christian music, the very last album, the album that got me out of it was an album that involved pretty much all of the biggest names in the Christian music industry. They were throwing their guitar players out, and just using their singers on this compilation album. And I was the guitar player. So I go to the session. So there are these two producers, and these are not bad people. So I don't want you to think I'm dissing them. It's just I'm just
Right.
showing you how the industry works. So I'm not interested in doing the record, but Bernie Herms calls me and he sells me. He's like, you don't understand. We're using like the London Symphony Orchestra on this record. This is to commemorate like the Bible being in English for 500 years in the King James Bible, or whatever Bible it was they were commemorating. So it was going to be this effort to like show how much we love the stories of the Bible. And he's like, I'm like, but you don't understand. Christian music is always like 5 years behind, man. I can't do this anymore. It's like soul sucking to go. And he's like, no, that's why I'm calling you. You're so outside of the box, and you're pushing the envelope. Like these are terms people use, and it's relevant. No, but anyway, so he talks me into it. He says, it's going to be like this. And so I get to the studio, and I'm kind of psyched once I get to the studio, because it's like all the who's who's. It's like all the dudes. Like I know, I'm like, I love these guys. Oh my gosh. But none of them are happy to be there. So I'm like, oh, these guys are like kind of miserable. Like,
Yeah.
this is weird. Like, this is the room to be in Nashville right now, and nobody wants to be here playing on this record. They all want to play on. They don't want to play on Christian records. And so anyway, we go in to work on the first song, and I think it's like a Newsboy song or something like that. Anyway, talking about Michael Tate, that's a different problem. But anyway, they pull up a track.
Do you,
What
do
are
you
you
think?
gonna say?
Do you think they were just kind of like, like they felt like Christian music was like kind of like the B list thing, or like what do you think the mentality was? Why were they miserable?
Oh yeah, I think it'll be obvious. I get about another 2 minutes, and then it'll be kind of obvious
Go
because
for
it
it.
comes out. It comes out. They say it explicitly. So, but that's a really good question. So anyway, they go to pull up the first song. Now, what a common thing to do. I never do it as a producer, but people will reference other bands' tracks to get the mind in the headset. It's not a bad practice. I just don't think to do it. And so, first song's coming up, or it might have been a Casting Crown song, but they reference a Snow Patrol track. I don't know if you know what Snow Patrol is. They do that song. You might like the song. If I lay here, if I just lay here. It's not a terrible song, but the track he's referencing is just so out of date. It's just toast. I'm not
Yeah.
interested. And so they start to reference the track, and I immediately put my hand up. I'm like, I thought, like, hold on. I packed myself up. I drove down here to play. I took a slashed rate because rates were starting to drop already for studio work at the time, and you told me we weren't doing this. Like, we weren't going to reference a bunch of old stuff and then just recreate it. Like, I thought we were going to like maybe invent something good, or at least keeping up with what's out there. And they're like, well, no, it's this specific track. I don't want you to match the tones or the stuff. I want you to, the vibe. And so anyway, we go in there and we start to play, and like I come up with something so good right away. I'm so excited. I'm like, yes, this is such a cool part I'm playing. And he's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, oh crap. All right. I guess they want something better. So I come up with another part, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, thank God he pushed me. I came up with something even better. And he liked it even less. And so I'm kind of complaining and I'm kind of giving a hard time. I'm like, can we just try to chase this down or whatever? So the bass player leans over to me. He's really famous bass player. He's like, listen, when I play a Christian record, there's a song by Switchfoot. Um, I think it's called like "This Is Your Life" or "Who You Want to Be." It's that it's got this bass part. He's like, they love that bass part so much. I play a version of that bass part on everything, and I go home. He points to the drummer. He starts to name songs. He's like, he plays that on every song, and we go home. We are here to get paid and go home. This is going to be a bad record. Like, and this is like again, this is the top of the industry. Nicole Norman's on the record. Who's the guy from Casting Crowns? Not the Casting Crowns. Sorry. They were Third Day originally. Mac Powell. All these people are on it. And anyway, so I play the whole day. I come up with the worst guitar parts I've ever come up with. They're the least creative thing I've ever done. I am disgusted with myself. I go home feeling slimy because I'm like, well, the good news is they won't call me back because what I came up with was so bad, And then they called me the next day. They're like, that was so creative. That was so. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not coming back. I thought they were calling me to fire me. They were calling me to get me to come back and do even more. I was like, no, I'm not. I love you. Like as a person, you are the nicest person I worked with. The icing on the cake in the story was there was another producer involved in the project. I had no idea who he was, but he's the biggest Christian music producer. Like his name is Brown Bannister. What a weird name, Brown Bannister. You might have heard of him. He did like the Amy Grant stuff. I think he did Michael W. Smith, all of like the big crossover stuff in the 80s. He did that. And so I just talking to this older guy at the session, like he's sitting there, he's like, hey, what's going on? What do you think of this? It's pretty good, huh? I'm like, honestly, you know what? I mean, I'm going to do their thing because they're paying me to do it. But like, I think this is shameful. Like, I don't know. As a Christian, I feel like it should be better. I feel like we have access to better things and it shouldn't be so derivative. Like my thing I would say about it was like, it felt like Diet Coke. Like it was safer. It was like, it didn't make you fat, but it had a funny aftertaste. Everything we made. And it took me a while to figure out it was kind of like because of the rules of propaganda. It was propaganda. And I'm not that guy who I just can't settle that. I want to settle it for money, but I can't. Like it haunts me and I lose my soul if I participate in it. But anyway, I dissed this guy's project. I had no idea he was the guy producing, really the head producer. And I just told him how bad it was, the whole project. And he's like, oh. And they called me back to use me again. So I don't know what to say. Anyway, that was, meanwhile, at the time, like there are so many stories swirling, like the stuff that's kind of open about Michael Tate now. Everybody knew what he was like. Everybody knew what these people were like. I mean, I played on so many secular records that were just higher quality experiences morally. Like never mind like artistically, just morally too. So it was so disheartening. Again, like I'm not prone to atheism or nihilism, but it's RC Cola. Yeah. Diet RC Cola is
Well,
perfect.
this is what I'm sipping on right now. The Diet Sam's going
Yeah.
on.
He likes that funny aftertaste. He's recovering from it. No, I drink diet sodas once in a while. What the heck? But no, what I'm saying is that there was this thing that was happening, and it was like we drive around and we see these billboards for like K Rock, which was like the big Christian radio station. It was like safe for little ears. It was like advertisement like that. Like they were reducing it to like a sanitized project, and they were admitting it. Like the idea that Christianity is appeal in Christian music is that it's safe is I don't know. I just makes me want to throw my phone right now that I'm recording this
Well,
on. Like, dude, it
that's
was
why
like
I liked like Dogwood. You ever hear Dogwood? That was
no.
an old evangelical punk band from like the, I don't know, were they 90s, were they 80s? But they had some lyrics that were a little more out there, a little more pointed, a little more.
Oh no, there are
point-based.
talented people in the industry. You're right. They
Yeah.
don't make it.
Yeah.
Like so the thing is too, some of the
No,
people
you're
you'll
right. They
hear,
didn't make it.
you'll listen to their song and their record and it feels kind of basic and their voice feels kind of like just safe. And you'll hang out with them and they're the coolest singer you've ever heard.
Right.
And somebody is like squishing them into a box. So there was something about it that was like K-Rock became like the pastor approved sound. Like there was something about even the very sound of the music. Even the very sound of the music had like a, oh, that's my music kind of sound to it. But for most, even at the time, I noticed just going around from Protestant churches, most men were tolerating the music. Like most men were tolerating the music. I felt like the whole musical experience in the mega church scene was really crafted for women for the most part. Like,
Yeah.
and whatever, that's what it is. What it is, but I felt like the guys I would talk to were kind of dragged there. But anyway, this goes back to like a larger theme, which we can get into as we watch these videos. Is just something really simple principle in the Lord's Prayer that the Orthodox Church holds to with both hands mightily. It's just let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Hmm.
The big problem of what we're going to talk about now, I haven't seen any of these videos, but I'm sure it's going to come into it. It's modern Christians who are trying to reform the church, who don't understand his history, don't have the memory of that this body has been through, that this prayer that Christ prayed when he prayed that we remain one, that actually happened, that there is a place where the church is one. Like, no knowledge of that. They go out, and because they don't have a tradition to borrow from, America has the same problem because America started to exist when the world was already civilized, is that we didn't have a history. So we started pulling from everything, everywhere, all the time. And so in the reason that the priests like cleanse ordinary items in worship and then holy items, the reason they cleanse them is because they're trying to make these things more like what is in the heavens, a better reflection of what is in the heavens. The things in the heavens are not dirty, they're not covered in sin.
Right.
These things down here, these shadows, in a sense, there is a polishing them so they show a glory and they are more like the transcendent pattern that it represents in the heavens. So when you're an Orthodox Christian, you find out that if you come to the Divine Liturgy, you go and look at the book of Revelation, and you're going to see a very similar service to what's going on in heaven, to what's going on in the earth. When you go back and you look at Jewish worship in the Old Testament, Moses is shown worship in heaven. He comes back down with the template for the tabernacle. Moses, like the Israelites, are very intentionally, like with the, do not make graven images. They're very intentionally told not to go out and look in the world and copy the things they see. That Moses has shown a different pattern. It's through revelation. It's not through like some kind of natural understanding. It's through revelation. What's going on in the heavens is given to the people of Israel. The same thing happens to Christians early on. Orthodox Christians their practices are reflections of things that are happening in the heavens. Just like even when you walk into an Orthodox church, if you want to make sense of that, you have to understand what we believe. We believe that our senses are too weak to see how things really are. So imagine Christ prior to this epiphany, this theophany, where he shows them who he really is, what he's really like. That this is a veiling happening for our benefit, so that we can encounter God. When we see that, and then we see that, oh, look who else is here: Moses and Elijah. It's like, are they there all the time? Are our senses too weak to pick this up? That's the inference there, right? So,
well, that's interesting that you say that, because when His Grace Bishop Emilianos was on the show, that's what he was basically saying. He was like, at the Transfiguration, it wasn't that Christ was transfigured; it was their noose. Their noose was open.
Yeah, their noose was open. Exactly. And he opens their noose, right? He opens their noose. In the patristic tradition, a lot of people talk about the fact that, like, the apostles needed to know that they weren't taking Christ's life, that he was laying it down, that he could just do this and rewrite the whole story if he wanted to, if it is in his power to do anything possible. And I think they learned that to some degree at that moment, right? So that when he goes to the cross, they understand that, oh no, this is not a human being, like in the ordinary sense. This is not someone who the government can overpower. So anyway, getting back around to this, you're going to notice this difference, this radical difference, as someone who used to plan services, used to sit there on like a Monday morning and try to figure out what the heck we were going to do on a Sunday because we had nothing. We had to come up with an idea. Or sometimes we got into planning where we'd plan months ahead. That was kind of nicer. But at the same time, like in Orthodoxy, it's like it's been given to us. It's been the heavens have been shown to us. The liturgy has been revealed, like the lectionaries that held the scripture. We still have these things. So the contrast we're going to see, I imagine, before I look at any of these videos, is a bunch of people borrowing from movies, stories, things that happen, and those things come with all the baggage that the rest of the things come in the world with. So I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of people who think that their job is to take things on the earth and say and use things they like for worship, as opposed to looking to God for his pattern of worship, holding ourselves in contempt, because there are certain ways, like this is the last thing I want to say before we watch, is that we all understand as Christians, like in the world, that like there's a demonic force trying to form our taste against the good. Like that, you were barraged with this our whole life. These salient, loud things coming at us, trying to get us to love things that, to love the things that God does not want us to love. And what happens is, the reason this happens is so that, if a demon's any good at their job, they're trying to stop you from seeing it, right? And by seeing it, I mean they want you to think what's good is evil and what's evil is good. So I understood this as a Protestant when I first came in, but I didn't understand it went farther than I knew, because I had a serious aversion when I started to see Orthodox things themselves, the ritual aspect of it, the formalities, the liturgical spaces, the kissing of icons, the lighting of candles, incense, all of these things, like praying, asking the saints to pray for you. These things were all like anathema to me, and I had been trained so that I would have a visceral response to that. And this is what we all, if you're a Protestant, you understand that this is happening in a different way, not against Orthodoxy, but you'll see it in the sense that people want to give themselves over to the internet and drugs and all these different things out in the world. So anyway, I think that's an important thing to look at as we watch these videos too, is both of these factors are going to be swirling around in there. So what do you got? Right. What do you got tonight for me? Got anything good?
I've got probably some of the most insane Easter services you've ever seen in your life. But before I do that, let me catch up on these super chats real quick.
Oh yeah.
If y'all want to support the show, feel free to send in super chats. Help us reach the goal. I appreciate everybody who sent in a super chat so far. Phantasm sent in $20. Thank you so much for the big super chat. I appreciate you. Marinchuk, good to see you. If you aren't Dirt Poor Robins maxing in 2026, you ain't living right. So true.
Thank you, Jason. That's, he had a podcast, Meet the Blessed. It was really funny. Yeah. It's kind of a fun roast of Meet the Press, but he had a bunch of us on there. Kate was on there with Rachel Wilson and Jamie, and, I was on there with Jay, and we interrupted their podcast. Anyway, Jason's great dude.
Yeah. I was on a show once. We had a couple of other people on there as well. It was a good,
oh yeah, that's right. You were, yeah.
With Luigi. And
yeah. Who's
the other guy? A guy that does, Astrolabe or something, I think was like his show's name or something like that, but he was on there too.
Astrolabe, is that like a navigational device for ships in the Middle Ages?
I don't know. Maybe.
Google that. Am I right? Did I guess that right? Somebody tell me.
You're right.
Somebody give him a $10 super chat to tell him I'm right.
I think you are correct. Yes. Yes. It is a navigational thing for ships. Okay. Astrolabe.
I feel good.
There you go. All right, we got Gregory here. Here's some cash for casino night. Make sure to always bet on black. Split the eights. Hit on the soft 16, but remember, the house always wins. By the way, thank you for the super chat. He's going to be on the show. He's an ex-Mormon who came to Orthodoxy. So he was in our convert documentary that we were doing, and we're going to do a show on why so many Mormons are coming to Orthodoxy. When I put out that request for people's testimonies, almost half of my emails were from people who left Mormonism to become Orthodox. So this was like
it's an easier. Have you been around many Mormons yet with this? Because it's an easier move for them than like a Baptist or a Calvinist. It's a way easier move, and it's not that the theology is similar. It's just the theology is so different. They kind of have to start over, and they're already used to like doing a lot of things, if that makes sense. So they grew up in a world where they had a lot of responsibilities in their faith. It wasn't a passive entertainment faith as much. So they seem to have an easier time coming over.
Yeah, well, they also have a much weaker foundation, it seems like, as far as intellectually verifying their own system. You know what I mean? So it's a little easier to break apart that system. They have a very strong, strong moral foundation, but not as far as the their defending it intellectually. Even their best apologists seem to be just getting the floors mopped with them left and right.
Yeah. So, there's a funny thing that happens in Orthodoxy too, is that because people are less familiar with Orthodoxy in America, we let them press us on things all the time. Like, where's iconography in the Bible? It's like, dude, where's there a big rock band with speakers and, in the Bible, and like the whole cast of the Avengers on the stage? Like, I mean, like, what are we talking about right now? Like, you're doing that because you think it's some principle you're applying, right? So, that's also, that's one of the ways we're grilled on these things too. But I don't know, like I'm into listen, I don't want to be mean about it either when we're talking about these people, because like you and I, Ben, we're gonna have to understand that this is like, in a way, like it's our mother tongue, that we were a part of it. You know, we saw the argumentation as, until we heard better argumentation, as good. So it's not like when I look at Protestants, I think they're dumb. I think man, I think like the rest of us, all of us, we've really had it rough, man. We've had a lot of propaganda thrown down our throats. We've had a lot of politics. We've had fake medicines. We've had all kinds of fake things that
Sure.
we told are good for us. And, so I think in that sense, there's like a sense in which our tastes are formed against us by the world, that we don't have a taste for the things of God. In fact, that sometimes we'll find them tasteless. And so I want to be careful when I say these things, because I have a lot of friends um, who are a part of this. So I'm not roasting them. I love them. But I mean, some of these things, guys, like you just got to stop. We just got to
Yes.
look at it and stop and understand, like the thing I'm experiencing. It's what makes me sad, Ben, before I go on. So not all my family's Orthodox. A lot of people became Orthodox that I knew with us. It was kind of awesome. Like we'd talk to people about it, and some people it would just click. They were like, "Oh my gosh, why haven't I known this? It sounds amazing." And then there's other people when they don't really listen, but you love them so much, and you were doing what they were doing. So in a way, you know what they're going through, and you know what it's like. And now you have this, and I want them to have this thing we have now. So when I talk to them about it, it's hard, because sometimes it's like they just want to bring it up and take shots at their understanding of it, but then they don't want to listen when you explain what they just made fun of. So it's kind of heartbreaking. I am dealing with heartbreak about this all the time when it comes to like certain family members and friends, because like, guys, it's different. Like, you haven't been this yet. I've been that. And from what you know of me, my wife, we tried hard as we could. We tried harder than anybody. We tried to fix it. We signed up for everything. If there was a problem in a church, we were there to fix it. Except when it came to heavy lifting or cleaning. We avoided that. We were more show ponies than the arts. But we avoided that. So, but it's when they're telling me their answers, like, obviously I used to believe that, guys, but listen to mine. And so some people just, their ears aren't open. And that's been the hardest thing for me. So, understand, as we're talking about these things, like we're going to make fun of some really bad decisions probably, but we're not making fun of you.
To be fair, the stuff that we're going to review, I would have made fun of these things as a Protestant.
Yeah, you're probably.
I mean, I'll give you an example, because I don't want to super hyper qualify this. I would have made fun of these things as a Protestant as well, because the things we're about to watch are the most ridiculous clips you'll ever see in your life. But as a Protestant, I remember one of my first churches that I went to as a young adult was a mega church. Nice church, the people were wonderful. People still are wonderful, because we ended up planting a church out of that. And I served as an associate pastor at that church later on, different church, the one that we planted. But at this mega church, they had put up for VBS, like a VBS, like summer vacation type deal. They had tiki totems on the stage that were actual Hawaiian demons. Okay. And I pulled this up and I go to the pastor. I'm like, "Hey, just so you know, these are actual like demons." And I'm showing him, and I'm like, "This is like the Hawaiian, like god of war. This is all this other stuff." And he's like, "Oh, I had no idea. It's like a pre-bought package or whatever. We'll see what we can do." Completely ignored it. They kept them up. The next Sunday, they had the freaking kids out there doing the hooga booga dance in front of the demon totems. So I'm fuming. And I get he actually wasn't an elder at this church, but he became an elder at the other church, the one that we planted. He came and we had a conversation. I was supposed to be with the senior pastor. He ended up sitting with the youth pastor to deal with me. I was very respectful, but I was just kind of like, I'm like, "Hey, what's going on here?" So I chat with him, and then eventually they they did away with that. But that, like, even that kind of stuff, I was pretty critical about as a Protestant. Because
well, you obviously weren't a staunch materialist, though, because a lot of the people making these decisions, they're kind of materialistic. They think like when they think of Zeus, they think fake. Like when I hear about Zeus, I'm like, that's like a demon, like using his personality to pretend to be Zeus. Like the story of how, like, what Zeus is doing. It's anyway. We don't see nature.
Cleave, it's just a symbol. Yeah, that's right.
That's right. And so we don't. Yeah, when we look outside, like I don't see a world full of natural laws. I see agency. I see that that God created angels and things like this, spiritual things, to run the universe. So that sounds completely backwards to someone who came out of the Enlightenment thinking and in the 1950s was catechized in materialistic Christianity. With the Catholic high school I went to, in ninth grade, their catechism for me was to teach me why all the Bible miracles were not true. It's called contextualization, is what they called it. And they basically walked through systematically in the Old Testament. Here's why the Red Sea wasn't actually parted. It was a strong wind at a low tide and a drought period. And it was like, dude, this is your faith.
There's
I'm
a
a kid and I don't even believe it. And I'm like, guys, this is the dumbest thing.
there's a good joke about that they'll tell to evangelical seminarians. I think that's where I heard it, was probably seminary, but there was a joke I was told. It goes something like this: seminarian is reading the Bible, and a professor comes up, and they start to talk about Moses parting the Red Sea, and the professor tells him, "Well, don't you know that the Red Sea was only about 4 inches deep at this point in history. It was
Right.
very shallow. This is why,
That's what I heard.
it just parted. It was like weather patterns or whatever the case may be. And, it just parted. It was only 4 inches deep. The guy sits there and he thinks about it, the seminarian, he sits there and thinks about it. And he's like, wow, glory to God. They drowned the entire Egyptian army in 4 inches of water.
That is the best possible response. Yeah, like a tidal wave had to come in. Like, when you think that's a miracle that a tidal wave came in and killed them, like whatever the heck thing they came up with, at some point they like. Here's part of the problem. There's no way to read the Bible and then frame up natural things that happen in nature as random.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't ever speak. It talks about God guiding these things, and we don't know why, what the story is telling, or what he's doing, or why he's guiding it. But people get really mad because people die in natural disasters. It's like, dude, everybody died in the flood. It's like God numbers people's days, like not
Yeah.
me. It's like that's not just because they died in the flood. Like, this is all God's. Like, he knows when they're going to die. It doesn't matter who they are.
Right.
And he's a fair judge. I wouldn't know how to do it. So these things are kind of silly approaches and owns. But anyway. That was
Well, I
my
think
that,
I
that was
think
my
it
ninth
also
grade experience in catechism in the Catholic school.
Yeah, I think it also comes from a generation of people who've never experienced a miracle, or something supernatural, which I think changes the way you look at some of these things. But let me hammer through some of these super chats real quick, and then we'll get into the Easter reactions. These very interesting, very elaborate Easter shows here. 40
Get my
Crush
popcorn.
says, "Have you ever reacted to John Fugelsang? I don't know who that is. And his book, Separation of Church and Hate. I already don't like it. He's a left's favorite Marcionite. Never heard of him, but now you're going to
Ooh.
make me have to look him up.
Oh,
So,
that's gonna be bad.
yeah, I'm sure. It's probably like, don't be anti Semitic. Don't talk about, this. If you're not a dispensationalist, you're bad,
Well, yeah. Well, if it's a leftist favorite, it could be him trying to rewrite every doctrine of the church he thinks needs to go because it's outdated too.
Yeah, that could be the case. Neil, thoughts on the OGs of Christian rock, like Striper? To Hell with the
Dude.
Devil is a bit of a banger, in my opinion.
Okay, you guys are absolutely right. Who is this cool dude? You are the coolest. Okay, I'll give you my short list of Christian stuff I still listen to. Like CCM bands. Like, I listen to a lot of Christian stuff, but it's Orthodox. So it's a very, very different thing. So Striper, 100% is probably, earlier I said I kept writing Christian songs. It's probably Striper that did it to me because I thought they were the best. Like, of all the rock bands I was into, it was the harmonies mostly. It wasn't the fact that they looked like women in yellow and black bee costumes or whatever the heck they were wearing. I mean, they looked like pretty women. I don't know what else to say. Like, that was their thing. And they had more makeup on than any Christian man should ever wear. But man, they did a thing. Like, they had a new sound. So
Yeah.
70s Petra, I'll still listen to 70s Petra. 70s Second Chapter of Acts, 100%. Like, I'll put them on level with like any band from the 70s. I know it sounds crazy, but Michael O'Martin was playing keyboards with them. I don't know if you know who he is, guys, but he played with everybody. And Phil Keaggy is probably one of the world's greatest guitarists. He was playing with the band, and the three siblings, Matthew Ward, and his two sisters. Annie Herring is one of the best singers out there, and his other sisters, Natalie. Their harmonies. There's no one's matched it yet since then. I'm hyping up second chapter of Acts. I'll get you even weirder. There's a concept record that I didn't mention earlier that is one of my favorite concept records, and it's childish and it's beautiful and it's goofy in kitsch and absolutely emotional and rad, and it'll make you cry. It's called The Roar of Love by second chapter of Acts, and it is a concept record about the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And if you can get past track 2, you're going to love that record. Track 2 is going to make you say that it's not for you. You'll figure out why if you listen to it, but it's hard to find. But no one can sing like those hits. And we got to meet Annie one day, and she gave me the best advice because as a Protestant, I was so troubled. We were at a Christian band, and labels were trying to sign us, and I was so troubled by the way people would compliment you after you play. Like, I mean, there's something about it that felt like I needed to deflect it all the time. Like, oh no, you're just constantly trying to put away the flattery. And she said, no, you don't do that. You collect it. You say you collect it like flowers, and then you give them to Jesus at the end of the night. Now, that's very girly and very cute, but it actually helped me in the sense where I was like, yeah, like I didn't make these hands. I didn't come up, like I didn't invent music. Like I'm stealing compliments, but I'm also dishonoring the person who's trying to talk to me. So I'm just going to take the compliments and give them to God. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that was something my senior pastor when I was a Protestant told me. That was very good advice. He said, when people give you a compliment, you're going to want to say, no, all glory to God. Don't compliment me. That's all, that's all God doing, but he said he would say that after his sermons when he was a very young pastor. And then eventually somebody came up to him that was a bit of an older Christian. He was like, you just need to learn to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Where was my spiritual father to tell me that? Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's pretty good advice.
Yeah. Thank you, Neil.
Yes, thank you. There you go. I'm terrible at taking compliments. I'm still bad at taking compliments. People come up to me at like coffee hour, or if somebody recognizes me or something, and they'll say like, "Oh, I love your stuff" or something. I'm like, "Oh, cool." My default, I don't know why, my brain is just wired so strange. My default conversation for somebody who I don't know but they know me, if they talk about the channel, I just start going through the calendar. Oh, I have this guest. Like that's my default, like basic conversation for, I don't know how to take compliments. So
okay, so
tell you about my calendar.
Can I humbly submit something that's been working for me lately?
Go for it.
Okay. So this is a really good question to ask, and it would really help you as well as help you get to know them. You ask them what was the first thing you saw? How did you find it? What did you think of it? Because you're going to find that like it's really actually helpful to know. Some people don't like you right away. Like people tell me, they're like, "Oh my gosh, my friend put it on." I was like, "What the heck is this crap?" And then I would just get sucked in, and then So like, there's all kinds of interesting stories, but you'll find out that somebody has been listening to you for 15 years and never said a word about it, and then you'll find someone else who just found you 6 months ago because I was on an Orthodox podcast. That happens to me a lot when I get on Orthodox podcasts. Orthodox Christians seem to really understand our lyrics, which is what we're known for because they're drawing from Orthodox typology. So anyway, that's what you do. Just ask them, "Hey, how'd you find me?" Like, or what was the first thing you saw? And you can reminisce on the video, and you'll know something about them and what's appealing to them, and you'll get to know each other. That's how you.
That's good advice. Yeah, getting them
I had the same struggles.
Easier than coming up with something myself. Cool Dude says, "Don't be nice to Cleve or Father Stephen DeYoung." Noted. When Father Stephen DeYoung comes on the show, if anybody compliments him, he's like, "Okay, now you have to do like 15 push-ups."
Yeah, thank you.
He's like, "Don't compliment me. Don't call me based. If you call me based, you have to do 50 push-ups." That's or prostrations. I think that's what he said. And somebody was saying they're going to do push-ups or something. But anyway,
I think Father Stephen actually, like, in a humble sense, kind of knows what he's good at too. Like, you don't need to tell him. I think he wants to know. I think everyone is helpful to know whether they want to hear it or not. Like, if God did something through them that helped you, like, that's why hold that back from people. Right. If you look at every letter from Paul, like, I think it's every letter. I could be wrong. Maybe it's not the small ones, but he starts out with a type of encouragement that we're kind of bad at. It's where like I compliment like people on their performance type things, like, "Oh, you did this well," or "You're good at this." Paul basically uses the lens of faith, hope, and love to praise the people he's talking to. He's like, he praises them for their hope, and their hope always has to do with the fact that they were putting aside this world. They're putting aside the things of the world for the things of God. Their love for one another. He's always talking about their love for one another and their faith and their commitment to the church. So it really points out an interesting pattern because, like, compliments can just puff you up in your skin. Like, you know what I mean? It can make me really excited to be me in a way that's not necessarily spiritually beneficial. Like, if
Right.
people are complimenting on performative things or you're the best at this or whatever. But if someone tells me like what you did helped me, and then 2 years later it hit me like this, and they give you like some kind of story about how it worked. Now, like, that's awesome because now, like, they're showing me like something that's almost invisible to me most of the time outside of my desire to do it, which is how God's working through you. And so we can really help, good spiritually discerning people can really help you with that. But when I talk to Father Stephen DeYoung, I get the sense that he kind of understands like what he's good at. And it's not humble to think that way. I think he understands, like, he's confident in what he's learned and he's seen it help people. So he doesn't kind of need someone to tell him to keep going, maybe. Who knows? That's just my guess.
Yeah. I think so too. I get the same impression. Usually
I
at the end of
love
the
his
show.
brain so much. I hope he's listening and he has to hear this. I love his mind. I'm not gonna say brain. That's stupid. I love his mind. I love the mind God gifted with him. I love the work he's put into it, and
Yes.
it is such an encouragement to me. And if he doesn't want me to say that, I'm gonna say it anyway because it's 100% true.
Yeah, I'm very appreciative that he's been swinging by not only my show but Alex Soren's show and just pouring into like the next
It's amazing.
generation. It's wonderful. He's not swinging by to like, you know, nitpick and all of these things, though he does give helpful critiques. But he really does, it does seem like he cares a lot, and he cares a lot about the next generation of Orthodox. So I really do appreciate that. I had a good interaction with Father Tom Soroka earlier today as well. That was saying he
Oh,
liked the
cool.
show, and he had a
Nice.
show that was like debunking PSA or something. And I was like, thank you for the show. He's like, oh, Cleve, keep up the good work. I'm like, hey, I appreciate that.
Oh
So
yeah, dude. I
I,
think I think you're doing
I
amazing. What you're I don't know if people sitting at home think about it, but what you've done with your channel, like, I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to pull it off. Like when we were talking beforehand, like
oh
you were
yeah,
talking to Father Peter.
I wasn't sure.
That
I
it,
thought
it
it was gonna. I thought I was gonna crash into the ground.
well, okay. So I mean, I had the same problem. Like, so for
Yeah.
me, my entire network was Protestant, and I knew when I became Orthodox that it was going to, most of them were going to cut me off for work, and they did.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, everybody's cool about it. So I mean, but it's a high stakes thing to be like professionally Protestant, and then to realize, like, that's what the people don't realize at home, and they might. This is why your move might have triggered people so much, because you were probably, I think you were taking a better approach at attacking orthodoxy. Not that this is a great idea in our opinion now. And
Sure.
I think you may have given them hope, but also what was at stake for you testifies to what you really, how much you cared about it. The
Mhm.
change, like, it was worth the risk. And so that's going to, now you're starting to get into the testimony territory. Like,
Yeah.
when I was a Protestant, it was kind of it was never a problem to hear someone came to your church and got off alcohol, but it used to be a problem for me to hear like someone went to like this Hindu program and got off alcohol, like, because the way testimonies work in the church as like your evidence for evangelism, like the change it made in me. The problem is a lot of the things I think we talk about with those changes can be produced by other systems, meaning that people can make improvements to their life outside of the any church. They could be part of like Jenny Craig and lose
Sure.
weight
You
or
do like
something like
self
that.
help stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a real thing, but that's also, you have to understand, if your system of your testimony, um, that's a challenge to it. So your testimony is very strong because you're throwing away something that a lot of people, like, in your mind, like, you had to understand as you step forward, like, I'm ready to leave all this behind. I might have to get a normal job.
Yeah.
you know I might embarrass myself to my family and friends. This might go poorly in a public sense, but you believe fully wasn't going to go poorly in a personal sense. But you took that risk, and so for people who didn't want you to do that, that's a strong statement, because
Mhm.
it's hard to fake a sacrifice, like a real sacrifice that you were willing to make. you can't fake that. Like you can fake unconditional love, but you can't fake sacrificial love. You actually have to do it. So I think that's what went on with that. But that's what's cool. So I mean, I just want to say that to you, like after following up after almost a year, like, dude, well done. I love your channel. I love what you're doing. I'm not trying to be lame. I'm just talking to my friend right now. Like I happen to be on a podcast, but dude, like high fives. Congratulations. Keep it
Thank you.
going. Stay humble. You're doing awesome.
There you go. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I'm happy about, it was obviously it was difficult. Still can be difficult, but I'm so blessed, and I'm so glad that I was super intentional in the way that I stepped away from my previous church, that I'm still friends with a lot of people from my previous church.
Oh, me too.
Even like my I text my senior pastor, my old senior pastor today.
Yeah.
I was talking to an elder from my old church today as well. I got off the phone earlier with a buddy of mine that went to today was just a call people from my old church today, just, hey, how you doing, checking up on them kind of thing. And I mean, it's just it is such a blessing to not have those bridges burned, and to have good friends that I can follow up with, that they're like,
Yeah.
So what's this orthodoxy thing that you're interested in now, that you're getting into now, that you're talking about all the time? Oh, well, let me tell you, like, let's go out to dinner or grab lunch or something. It's super nice. And I would stress that to anybody who's leaving Protestantism or whatever other system. Don't burn your bridges. You really, like, if you love people, you gotta look at these people as people that you want to board the ark as well. But also, if you love people, you love them because you love them. You don't have to love them for an ulterior motive. What my priest says to me, and I know we're supposed to get into the Easter stuff, but this converation,
I know we're just kind of talking about this stuff all day.
Too good to move on. So
yeah,
I want to talk about this for a bit. Well, how much? Well, anyway, I won't.
Whatever, just let it rip, man. I'll go to bed whenever I go to bed. It's fine. It's Holy Week. I only have another 25 hours of singing to do. It'll be good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ascetic.
But my priest was saying, he was like, usually when the first meeting I ever had with him, he said, I normally don't let people out of the catechumen phase until they can tell me at least, I think it was like 3 good things about their previous church, if they were like a Protestant or something. So it's like, he's, kind of instilling that idea, like, don't despise where you came from. It was prepping you to get here. And I think that's so important. Don't be that meme ortho bro where you're like, an ortho bro is like a, blanket term. You can say all sorts of stuff about that term, but don't be that meme where you're like, you convert one day and it's like, oh, all these like you said earlier, all these Protestants are dumb. They're all, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. Sure, we can attack the theological system. We can, poke at how easy it is to take apart certain things like memorialism and these types of things.
Yeah. But memorialism's been crushed. It's been crushed in the last 5 years. Yeah.
But the people, you got to love people. That's so key. And it is, I don't know. That's something that my former senior pastor really helped me with. Was just loving people, because that's something that he does very well. So I love
what you're saying. I think that's great advice, because you're already going to be frustrating enough. Like, you're already frustrating enough without having to do things that are frustrating, or in the sense that, for example, dude, I'm kind of annoying if you're not Orthodox. Like, I don't mean to be, but people say stuff and I'll be like, well, do you know? And then I'll kind of go into it, and I do more of like experiential apologetics and theology, but man, I've read that Bible a lot. Like, I got it, and as soon as I became Orthodox, dude, it became so much stronger to me. It was like all of a sudden these things I had papered over and didn't realize I was skipping. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice that when Jesus finished washing their feet, which is like an example for confession, right? Unless you do this, you have no part in me. Like, I just skipped that. Like, we never did anything like that at our churches. Like, so all of these things I didn't see it, and it hit me so strong when I finally could see it, that I think it's annoying, because I want that for other people, because I love the people you love. You really want that for them too, because you've done both things. You know the difference. So, like, once you're involved in the full sacramental life of the church, love starts to, like, I don't know if people see me as more loving. I feel way more loving towards everybody. I don't know how else to say it. Like,
right.
like it's not happening in like a rational way either. It's just an inclination towards better things and better thoughts. And suddenly I just didn't care about like a lot of old people, especially if I didn't know them. And I love all the old people at my, like, I can't stop loving people. And um so the experience has been so much different and then so much fuller. Like, so I think the problem is that I frustrate people, or they in their own mind, because what they're telling themselves, it's like I'm telling them that Jesus isn't the guy or something. Like, I don't know if they know how to hear. It's like, no, understand, you're going to get way more Jesus. Like, what I'm talking about is like, if you are into Jesus, how about way more Jesus? How about following Jesus around every year as a church, as a
Right.
cosmic body, walking through his steps of his life and his ministry every year? Like, when we go to the cross on Good Friday, we kind of go to the cross like as much as you can without actually doing it. So these things are real. They're beyond symbolic. This is the church imitating Christ literally. We're receiving free gifts, not like in just a Gnostic sense, but actually the free gift of grace in the sacraments. This is a very different thing at stake than they had before. But it's not like all the people they were rooting for are out of the picture. It's not like it's no longer Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and Paul and Peter, and like these. This is them, except you're gonna get all of it now. So yeah, I think that could be really frustrating, because guess what? It sounds like you're saying, I know something you don't. Nobody likes to hear that. Oh, that thing you're doing, I know better, right? That's the problem. Like, and it's hard to come across like a beggar who found bread. It just doesn't sound like that to people. Like, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
tell you, I found some bread. And I've been trying so hard to find bread. And it just wasn't there. We're all trying to fix it. And we all know, we would say things like, oh, well, all the denominations have their problems. It's like, yeah, that's what I said before. It was Orthodox. Sure. It's like all denominations have their problems. Like, if you say that, that means you're in a denomination, which means you're not one. So I don't see it that way anymore. Anyway, but yes, love. You have to love people, and so the love begins before you're with them. That's what people need to know who are struggling with this. So I was struggling with something like this, and my priest was like, "Hey, I want you to pray this akathis to the softener of hardened hearts." Um,
Yes.
yes, and it's like, whoa, okay. And so if I want to begin to be Christ, not in my own power, not in my like entirely my own effort or will or desire to be a certain thing. I have to receive, we have to partake in the divine nature, and then we have to pray for the people we want to love. Like, you're
Mm.
going to love them if you're praying for them. It's just going to happen. So it's just as simple as that. Like, we can be super intellectual. Probably most of the people who follow this channel are smart. It's about embodiment. It's about like going through church, going through all of it, actually praying. Your Christian life is a very simple life in the Orthodox Church, as though there'll be so many things for you to learn. It's just a simple process of repentance and gratitude. It's the left hand and the right hand climbing the ladder. It's that we repent, and we're so grateful because we receive real forgiveness. That forgiveness that was passed on to the apostles in the Bible, that power to forgive on earth what is forgiven in heaven, is a real gift that's offered through the church of absolution. That I don't have to wonder if so when I used to have to repent, I used to have to wonder, like, am I actually sorry? Did I cry enough? Do I feel bad about this? Even if I did repent, sometimes people would just tell me it's all forgiven already. Right. But like now, like the fact that in ordination, people are like, what do you mean? Like, only God can forgive. It's like, yeah, it says that in the Bible, but also what did God do? Like, what is he gives the power to forgive to the apostles he's trained as clergy. And so there's something different about me going at home and just the private confession that you can do to God. That's something we can do. That's a real thing. But there's something different about like the visible aspects that enter into orthodoxy. So like the actual receiving of absolution. So that gratitude, that repentance and that gratitude is even deeper, because it's not just that you don't want that sin to be a part of you anymore. It's that the church has the power to remove that from you too, and remove it from you in the sense that there's a thorn in your skin that's getting infected. Not remove it from you in the sense that like God can't forgive you because he wrote your name on a list in the thing you did, and we need him to convince him to we need to pay him off so he erases it. No, like you're sick. You're sick. So and but that's how love gets in. I don't know how else to say it. Like it doesn't take like a I mean, I got a pretty high IQ, Ben. I don't want to say it does that doesn't help me in this regard at all. Like at all. It's nothing to boast in because it doesn't bring me an inch closer to wisdom or salvation or any of this. So It's a simple life of prayer and repentance. If you want to write music that comes from a deep Orthodox place, I think you have to live a deep Orthodox life.
Mhm.
If you want to love your friends, like you have to be Orthodox towards them. Like, I mean,
Yes.
like if you don't have love for them, it's evidence that you're not following the faith that was given to us. So you have to pray for these people and you have to love them and you have to do the extra work. You have to do the prostrations because your body is disobeying too, and you have to bring it all into alignment. So um we don't want to just throw out, like, the reason I'm saying this because I just want to throw out the idea, hey, love your friend. It's like, no, like we're given a path to do it, and it's not the path you think. It's not just you start trying harder. Like, Orthodox Christians are not going to church and waiting for that one thing the pastor is going to say that's going to fix everything. No,
Well,
we're there
well,
in the
what
we're in the
it
gymnasium.
is when you see your friends, you grab them and shake them violently, and you say, "I love you," and you start screaming, and you repeat it over and over again until they get it, and then they don't talk to you for a week or two or a month.
Perfect. You can start a channel based upon that strategy. It
Yeah,
just can we can follow you around with the camera
follow that
using that
strategy.
strategy. Yeah,
That's
see
just
how it
like
goes.
my that's just like my coffee hour strategy I gave to the audience a little while ago. They're saying we're having a hard time like making friends at church. I'm like, you just have to look and see when one is separated from the herd, and then you go and you approach them. Hello, do you want to
Oh
become
my
friends?
gosh. Yeah, like a guy trying to meet a girl at church. Don't meet girls at church. Wait till after. Um, someone staring at you, checking you out at church. Yeah,
Hello, I don't see a ring on that finger. Like, oh,
I know when that happens though. It's kind of funny.
yeah. Wait
You
at
know,
least until coffee hour, guys.
yeah.
Come
I
on,
mean, listen.
come on.
It's you're blameless for wanting a wife or a husband. Like, I get that. Just don't do it at church. Like, wait until
Yeah,
coffee to
yeah.
talk to
Don't
someone
do it during the liturgy. There you
and
go.
be respectful. So anyway, yeah, we got that going for us.
Templar says, "Cheers! What a matchup here. This should be a regular thing."
Hey, I like it, Templar. Yeah, well, I'm Ben. Ben's awesome. I like Ben immediately. Um,
GJ Beard says, "Bros, beard mogging me right now. Love your work, Cleve. Appreciate it."
I touched my beard too much on the podcast, so a friend of mine, Melty, he decided that he would make a drinking game out of every time I touched my beard, and he made a fake video about it. It's on his 5Z channel. So basically, within like a minute of the podcast, he's drunk himself under the table because I'm just here the whole time. So my you met Father Silouan, right? Father Silouan is a Hieromonk
He's
from,
awesome. I would
dude.
love to
He's the
have him on the
best.
show at some point. He's
Dude,
awesome.
yeah, we can line that up if he says yes. I can't speak for him, but we have his phone
Right,
number.
right,
So,
right.
but you ask him a good question, and so he's a Puerto Rican nationality. Um, he's a Puerto Rican. What is it? Why would I use an indefinite article before that? He's Puerto Rican. And oh, he's awesome. He's like super Puerto Rican. He sounds Puerto Rican, but he's this monk, and he looks like he just came off Mount Athos, but he's like a little darker skin. But when you ask him a good question, he's got this long beard. And he just like instantly he goes, and he just spits
So
like
true.
he goes into his librarium that God gave him, and he goes and finds this obscure esoteric answer that's perfectly beautiful and you understand, and he brings it back out when he does this. So yeah, he's awesome.
I love the way he speaks. He just talks like a surfer guy.
Yeah.
It may
No,
it,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a tag artist from New York City. That's what he
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like to
Oh
me.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
That's that's a
he's
good
the
way to
best
put it.
iconographer. If you look up Hieromonk Silouan, um, .com or .org, I don't know. You have to look it up. So his iconography is amazing. If you do it on a phone, for whatever reason, he doesn't have his website working. You have to turn it sideways so you can scroll the art.
Yeah,
Um,
he was very nice to talk to. I really enjoyed grabbing lunch and hanging out with him, and then going to hang out with him at the Supra. He's a good guy. Yeah,
yeah,
I'd like to have him on the show at some point. That'd be cool.
but you guys know the symbolism of a beard, right? You know what this means. Like, this thing isn't an arbitrary feature of mankind. Like, actually, this would be really helpful for you to know. There's not a single feature in the world that's arbitrary. It's all meant to point to something greater. And so the beard. So anyway, your hair turning white. This will help you to know. This will also help with balding too, because I'm going a little bald. But okay, hair turning white. It's moving up towards the light. So if you look out in nature and you look at the mountains, like the higher things go, they eventually have snow caps on it, right? So the idea is, as you're moving through time, this is an analogy. It's supposed to show that you're gaining wisdom. Now, that's a problem symbolically, because you got to understand, like Jonathan Peugeot talks about, symbolism happens. People who are, will want to like hair plug and dye and whatever. It's kind of showing that they haven't earned it yet. Like, in other words, if you had the wisdom, you would understand why God himself made it so our hair would get whiter over time. So the beard is also, this is like, with Aaron's beard with the oil running off of it, this is supposed to be a masculine symbol of revelation. We're like the sun. Like I can make my whole head like the sun. Like this is a fun podcast right now. I feel like I'm doing a beauty tutorial for beards. But anyway, this is like the wisdom, like the rays of sunlight coming down. Like a lion has a mane too. It's like like a kingly aspect of us. And then finally, balding. So my hair's getting thin here. This is the mountain analogy again. As you go up a mountain, the trees get thinner and thinner and smaller. So as you get older, it's the idea that your head's moving up through time and space. Now, there's some things that allude to this in the Bible, but that symbolism is, I think it's pretty coherent for people to understand. So this is why guys kind of want beards. Like you can shave your beard. That's your choice. I mean, it's your prerogative. It doesn't make you a bad person. I think that if wisdom's important to you, you might think of it differently.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, also in iconography, having a beard is to show that like you're human, right? Also that you're older. But in ancient Roman art, they would, or I guess in ancient Rome, they would often shave their beards off because they wanted to look like they never aged, like they were like some kind of deity. So they'd be clean shaven. That's why a lot of the Roman art, they have like no beard or nothing, which is interesting that the Roman Catholics kind of like followed that, but probably just like a local custom that they kept or something.
That's creepy. I mean, when I meet men, I'm sorry, guys, if you don't have a beard, but when I meet older people without a beard, they kind of look like a older lesbian to me. So if that's okay with you, that's fine. No, it's just because I've had a beard on my face for too long. That's what happened. So when you have a beard, like it's like when you ever meet a kid who like their parents don't, like their dad doesn't have a beard and the little baby's freaked out by your beard. That happens to me a bunch, but also it goes the other way around. So like when my kids would meet someone without a beard, they're kind of like, something's wrong with this guy's face. Right, because they were used to it. So a lot of it has to do with what you're used to, too, I imagine. But that's the symbolism of a beard.
It's the Shanzi says, Holy Week, actual tax. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys want to support the show, feel free to send in super chats. We're going to get into clips now and watch some of these Easter services. So I had quite a number of these clips saved. I don't know if you guys follow me on X, but on X, I post a whole bunch of these compilations and edits and things that I don't post to YouTube. I also put this on my TikTok and Instagram. So if you don't follow me there, follow me there. But I'll do the edits of like, I don't know, like a different denomination or something. And I'll grab like the craziest clip from each one. For a lot of the mega church ones, the craziest clips I could find were from these Easter services. So we're going to see some of these wild clips. This one is probably, we're going to start off with probably the most crazy one first.
Perfect.
So this will be a good way to start it off. So this is from Protestia, one of my favorite X pages ever. But this is from 2025. Church puts on a Princess Bride themed Easter service where Prince Humper, I don't remember, crucifies Wesley on stage.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. For saying dying for true love before ultimately being resurrected with the help of Miracle Max, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're gonna check. Let's take a look at this clip because it is absolutely wild. No! First off, before we even go any further,
start with the torture scene.
Imagine you're a visitor to the church, and that's your first experience is seeing like some actor get crucified on the stage with pyrotechnics and stuff.
Atheism fuel right there. Okay, let's continue.
You think someone is following us? That's inconceivable.
I might have to skip around because it might copyright strike me for the music.
Oh yeah, do that.
Copyrighted music.
Stop saying that!
They just made the whole movie, but like a weird Christian version, didn't they?
You killed my father! Prepare to die!
Here you go. They're about to crucify him.
Oh my gosh.
I think that no man in history will suffer as greatly as you will.
No! No! No!
Oh my cringe.
What does this do?
It is finished. He's gone.
It is finished.
Yeah, Jay.
No,
It just so
no.
happens your friend here is only mostly dead. And there's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead. Please open. Hey!
He only mostly trampled down death by
hello?
death.
What's so important here? Hey! What do you have here worth living for? True love.
They didn't even change the scene at all. They just went with the original scene.
I'm gonna skip forward from the music.
Smash it! Like, oh my God! Jump off that table!
Okay. I'll do this. You'll see them dance around a bit. I don't want
All right.
music.
I think we got enough to go on here. This is not good. Okay, so listen. Couple of artistic mistakes were made just in the beginning. One is there's a classic mistake people make is you can't really parody comedies easily. So The Princess Bride is already a medieval parody. So to parody a parody becomes a little. It's just always a bad artistic choice. There's very few situations where that works. So that's just my artistic credit. Now, if they were doing this if I went to visit my friend's church and they were doing a sketch like this that didn't overlap with this very important story to Christianity, I might think these people are fun, right? When you take the Christian story and its centrality and the cost of it all, it is a horrible injustice. It's so ignoble to try to bring it to this point, to take that. I mean, it's worse than PSA in a way. PSA takes the beauty of atonement and cheapens it to a financial judicial exchange. This takes the cross and the gospel story of Christ going to the cross and makes it cutesy.
Yeah.
I think they should be stopped somehow. Like
They should be stopped.
They should be
somehow.
stopped from.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to have seen the meetings where I would love to see the person, because there's a person somewhere in that room when they were doing meetings and production meetings who was giving pushback. There was one. And that person, I hope you're watching right now, because I want to say you were right and this is proof.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this was a train wreck. I mean, I think a lot of this really stems from not really holding the gravity of the actual story, the death and resurrection, right? I mean, like using "it is finished" in a line from for the Princess Bride, like somebody dying and like waking up or something. It what a mess, man.
Dude, I don't know, man. It's
just kind of blasphemous in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it speaks to country club Christianity in the sense that they're kind of like, this is the thing we believe in and we want to flavor things with it, but we also want to do these things, and we have aspirational moments where we want to be a musician, musical theater actor, we want to be on the stage. That could be something like that going on too. But I think that on a serious note, what we're looking at here is what happens when grace is missing. Like, they have to make up for it. Like, they have to create some kind of ecstatic show emotionality, and everybody across the board does it. This is why the Catholic Church has these crazy roller coaster services they'll do sometimes, and things they'll do that just seems such a profane thing to do to the central idea here. Like, it's more than an idea. This is like the center of reality we're talking about here, and it's a very serious moment to parody like this. So mistakes were made all around. I give them a couple of good choices for, at least they seem to be self-aware. Like, they're not doing this in the sense that they think this is really going to be emotionally impactful. They kind of understand that it's meant to be lighthearted.
Yeah,
so
the joke.
I can give them some points for that in an artistic sense, but that's it. That ends. I give them I don't know how many crazies, how many Paula Whites out of 10.
Yeah.
That's a 9 Paula White.
Do your Easter services like this. Mega churches, you do not have to do your Easter services like this.
Nope.
Please do not do a crazy themed mockery of the death and resurrection as your Easter service. Please, I'm begging you. If you're going to do a play, do like a traditional Easter play or something. You know what I mean? Like, at least that's somewhat tasteful. Like, you'll have you'll see the videos of like the Italian guy getting mad at the Roman actors in like an Easter play. they'll go up and like fight the Roman actors. Like, you're not getting Jesus. I'm taking you down, buddy. Like, you're not gonna, you know. Have you seen
So
those?
funny.
To watch the play, they actually get upset. They're like, no, I gotta save Jesus. I love those. Those are hilarious.
That's amazing.
But you also kind of resonate with the guys. Like, okay, right on. Like, I get that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
GJ Beard says, imagine you bring your friend to church and they see this. Bro, I swear I've never seen them do this. I swear we're normal.
Dude, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's happened to us so before. Like, where it's like, oh, your pastor was out of town and some guy got up to do special music and he had done a Christian parody of a Little Mermaid song. Like these things actually happened in churches I was at and in. So yeah, this is this takes so much effort. Like, look at how much effort they went through for this idea. That in and of itself is like, I mean, all the when you hear Judas, you know, saying, "Hey, like, why are you spending this money on oil? Like, all this has been wasted. It could have been saved for the poor." That's virtuous signaling from Judas. I think anybody in this audience was like, "Hey, we would have been better off not to have church and just feed people." Like, they would be right.
Yeah, that is a common critique. Why waste the money on all of this stuff? You could just be feeding someone or something. In this case, it probably would.
Actually, I normally would dismiss that one, but I'm like, you know, in this case, pretty much almost any other activity would have been better than this, guys.
Lord Dauntless says fa, so I got to give you a fa here. Hold on. There you go. All right, let's get into the next clip. So I got a number of clips to go through. This is a compilation of them. Again, if
we're going back to the future, aren't we?
Something. I'm gonna skip through any copyright music stuff just so I don't get the stream taken down. But this one is called the best deaths of the Easter play universe. So there's so many of these that they have a best deaths compilation. So
okay, great. Okay, it looks like we're about to go through a bunch of movie themes here. This looks like it's going to be Back to the Future. That's the clock tower. Yeah. So just pause after each movie ends, if there's a series of movies, so we can discuss.
Okay, Doc. All right, time circuit's on. Let's go, Jesse. We're ready. We're ready, Doc.
Oh no! No, they're not gonna. No, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna do it. They're doing it. Oh my gosh! They did that. That really happened just now. Like, that was a thing that someone took seriously and did in a church.
That was a decision.
This place used to be honored.
Okay, let's pause.
That was made.
They get points for that fire effect. That was a pretty good fire effect for what it was. Okay, the fire across the ground when the DeLorean took off.
Cool. It was cool looking at the special effects, but dude,
yeah, but that is
not good.
Well, it was even less like the cross somehow than the Princess Bride. Like, as an analogy, like, well, there might be something powerful in the sense that he's somehow doing something in time and space, maybe, but no. Okay, so they got a problem picking Back to the Future in general, because something Crispin Glover pointed out with that movie that needed to be corrected was it's not a traditional, like, fairy tale pattern of redemption for a family, because in the end of Back to the Future, instead of everyone, like, the family coming back together, like at the end of Peter Pan, let me give you an example. Disney's first Peter Pan, the ending was wonderful because, you know, the father's like Captain Hook, and he's lost his imagination, his sense of wonder in childhood. He's just all business. He's like a pirate. And the kids are separated from the dad, and Wendy's going to have to move out of the nursery. And at the very end, she grows up. She went on a journey, and she learns, you know what? I do want to grow up. And they don't take any of the fun out of that, like, you know, in the movie. And the dad comes in, he looks at the pirate ship in the window, and he says, I think I've seen that ship before when I was a child. And he hugs the kids, and it's like he recaptures the child. Wendy decides to grow up. The family has love. The Lost Boys get adopted. Whatever it is. Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox gets a truck. His mom and dad get better jobs, and his sister and his brother get better jobs. That's it. It's all materialistic. It's not about love in the end. No one, like, overcomes some problems in the relationship. So you're at the starting point. you're already within a materialistic story. So I think that's a bad choice unless they were going to take those materialistic elements, pause the story, for example, and then correct it and make it like, show like it's that it wouldn't just make it a Christian story, it would actually make it a better story. So anyway, lots of mistakes here, good fire effects, poor story choice. You got anything to add to that?
I was just gonna bring up this comment here, and the ticket fee for these is only 10% of your total income. Pay your tithes.
Dude, what a ripoff.
So true. This same exact church that's doing stuff like this with the crazy pyrotechnic effects and stuff, they're gonna do the sow your seed sermon. Like you're gonna get back, whatever you put into the church, this kind of thing. But this is where your money's going. It's going for these like elaborate plays and things like this. This was the same thing that happened at my old like mega church that I was attending. It became like a business at some point. They had the last service I ever attended, it was a service with no sermon. So there was no sermon. It was that we did worship, and then it was a business presentation of a CrossFit gym they were going to open up on church campus. We said, we walked out. We said, we're not coming back anymore. So after that, we had started going to a different church, and the guys who I went to, I still go to the Bible study at that church though, because it's a solid group of men. I'd made friends and things like that. But eventually, they planted a church out of that men's group, which had grown very, very large. So, but yeah,
what you're talking about is really important idea. So because I would get hired to consult on like church records and stuff. So
yeah,
I watched this happen a number of times. There was a church I was at. One of the guys who ran like the whole music department spent like a year making a record, that the church paid for, that wasn't really, it wasn't loved by the church, let's just say. And I don't know if I had to calculate how much money went into it. I would say it had to be close to six figures because the people's salaries that were taken away to do it. And so when you're sitting there giving your money, like you're imagining it's doing something it's building something,
right,
besides helping someone like fulfill their dream as an artist. But that would happen with movies and all kinds of projects. But music was everywhere I went. Everybody, because I was at a part of a church that made a record, and that record got like picked up and distributed by Universal Records, and it did really well. And so once that happened, it was like everybody. I was like, dude, don't do it. Like, do it on your own dime. Like, make your own record and bring it to the church. If they like it, they'll play it. You can play the songs. But please, like these people, like some of them are working so hard. Some of them are like almost like under that system, there's some stress. You know what I mean? There could be some stress for people who are financially strapped, who don't have money to give, but they hear this, like they're obligated to give some sort of flat tax. And so these poor people who are working so hard and probably gave up a lot of things to put that 10% in there, you're buying studio gear and making a record with it that no one's going to like in a couple of years. That's bad. Right. That's really bad. Like that's just bad in general.
That's one thing I appreciated about my the church where I served as an associate pastor was they'd publish what they spent the tithes on. So anybody could pull it up at any time. Yeah, so it was complete transparency, which I really appreciated. And a lot of times it just went towards helping people in the congregation that really needed it. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah.
I'm cool with that. You can spend your money, spend the tithes on that all day, every day, grounds and all this kind of stuff. That's fine. Whatever. This stuff, I don't want my money going towards tiki totem play where they're having the kids dance in front of demons. Okay. That's not where I want my money going towards. But anyway, a couple super chats here. Math is hard. So are clocks. And I'm late to the bridegroom service. Stop watching my live stream. Go.
Get out.
Go.
I already been. It's so beautiful. I went today. So there's a wonderful reading. Oh, so you want to talk about why Orthodoxy is super cool if you like symbolism and typology. So in the bridegroom service, they pair together the reading where we hear about the who are the lamp oil, the virgins with the lamp oil, right? The 10. You know what I'm like? Wait, what's that group called? It's escaping me right now. Like the actual name for this.
I don't know.
They're the oil-bearing women or whatever. I forget. Oh my gosh. But anyway, there's 10 of them. There's 5 that don't have wisdom and 5 that do, right? And we learn that the 5 haven't saved their oil and the bridegroom is calling, right? And they need oil to get to him. So that's paired with the story of the sheep and the goats. If you pay attention, this is really cool because the sheep and the goats, it's 2 hands again. So like in symbolism, you think of 10 and you think of breaking a 5 and 5, you're seeing a left hand and a right hand. So when they pair it with the sheep and the goats, like I was saying earlier, like when you're saying like, hey, you got to love your friend. It's like, well, you got to, so next step, okay, I got to love people. Great. You sold me on it. What do I have to do to love them? Like, is it just I try harder, or is there a Christian way to love someone more? Right. So it's the same thing in the story. So you look at the sheep and the goats and you realize some of the things that maybe the people who are wasting the oil, what they were wasting it on. You know, so you get the sense of what wisdom looks like in action in those 2 stories next to each other. So the typology in the readings and the way they're paired together in the Orthodox Church is like, it's so beyond the way we think now. It's from a time where people actually saw this web of connectivity and typology. Some of that's still alive in the West in the sense that they might think of communion as like the Passover meal, or baptism as like escaping the Egyptians from Egypt and going into a new country. They might have that kind of typology, but when you get into Orthodoxy, like thorns, thistle, fig trees, regular trees, clothing, the sun, up and down, north, south, east, and west. You know, all of these things have meaning. Every story in the Bible, even like when Abraham and they're going to Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah is like an analogy for like Hades, and it's actually technically at the lowest place in the world. Like it's the lowest elevation. All of these, when you read the Bible and you're at these services, pay attention because there's not a single arbitrary detail. And if you have a mind for typology, and especially if you start to read the church fathers on this stuff, like Ephraim the Syrian, St. Gregory of Nyssa, like his Life of Moses teaches you this stuff, the world changes. What you see outside your window is entirely different. And this stuff will look 10 times more ridiculous because you realize it's not coherent. It's not even coherent within the own story and its own purpose is what they're doing here.
Hey, we got a raid from Hello Listeners live stream. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Tony.
Wait, who is Hello Listener? He's popped up a couple of times on my feed recently out of nowhere, but he must be related to people I watch.
He's an Orthodox musician as well, but he streams with Jim Bob, made by Jim Bob a lot.
Oh, does he? Yeah, okay, that might be it too, because I follow Jim Bob. I did that Jason Mirachuk podcast I did with Made by Jim Bob.
They do skits. They do a really good Tucker impression. Jim Bob does a good Tucker impression.
Okay, this is good to know because
with Tony, and I forget what the character's name was, but he's supposed to be like some like oligarch, like billionaire guy that he plays.
Yeah,
and he's like, what do you mean I don't help society? I sent 50,000 gallons of macaroni and cheese to Mexico yesterday. Like it's hilarious.
So I watched like 5 minutes of his stream because it came up and I was like, who's this guy? Because he had this weird kind of like pixelated video gamey thing going on. I thought he was really cool, but I didn't know what he was about. I didn't watch it long enough. So that's so funny that he just rated you because now I have the answer to that question. I can go back and subscribe.
There you go. Subscribe to Hello Listener right now. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate you. Matthews Pendragon says, I appreciate Neil's giving this nonsense serious literary analysis just to show how awful it is beyond the surface cringe of it all. He's giving you the symbolic cringe as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right. DJ Beard, lock the doors. If you know, look it up. That's true. Yeah, that was lock the doors of the church. Don't let them out until they give me, I forget how much it was, like $10,000 or something.
Oh my
Somebody's got a $10,000 seed out here. You got to plant a $10,000 seed. Nobody's leaving.
I would hope. So I think it'd be helpful for these people to know who are involved in these kind of circles is that,
20K seed.
that like demonic things can pretend to be Christian. So there's always, when you talk to these people in these churches, and sometimes they do absolutely crazy things. Like there's things I see Paul White, or, obviously these are some of the obvious examples. People like Kenneth Copeland, with his puppet eyes. And what they're doing is so obviously crazy. But when you talk to the people who follow these people, they think because he says Jesus, because he says he's a Christian, that he can't be faking, or that he can't be under some kind of influence that's dark. That is a really bad presupposition. I mean, there's stories of Orthodox monasteries where miracle working type people show up and they're trying to become part of it. And then the monks finally realize that, like, oh, wait a minute, this is fake. This is someone who this person won't even read the Gospels. Like, so, I mean, the thing is that just because they have something called the church and because they have a Bible, it doesn't mean that they're protected from lies at their own pulpit. So I think they need that was a hard way to, it was a hard way to call it. You talk about pre-list, you know, the idea of like we're under spiritual delusion. Dude, I'm a recovering self-trust addict. I had stories where I thought God had really done something cool in my life that I had kind of justified. And when I look back now, I'm like, I had no way of knowing if that was God or just something good that happened to me, or like not even good that happened to me, or me making something good that wasn't that great. Me being prideful, powerful, whatever I thought it was happening. When these people are sitting around, when you're in these planning meetings, people think these ideas are coming from God. Like this idea, when they had it, they're like, they were so excited probably. I think we're about to see, what's this, an Indiana Jones one? So like they probably thought that God gave them this idea, Cleve. Like that's
Yeah.
the way these conversations go down. It doesn't have to go like this for you. Christians, you don't have to make a clown of yourself.
Very
Like
true.
I was the hard part about being like someone who's in music and singing and acting and entertainment is they won't think they're doing it, but like they'll make a clown of you. They'll have you doing embarrassing. They'll have you doing stuff like this. They'll have you playing songs that are so stupid and childish. Adults should have grown up past them years ago.
The only exception would be for like a VBS or Sunday school thing.
Well, that's a
Then
kid.
then you can make a fool out of yourself. I will volunteer to make a fool out of myself for Sunday school and VBS. I remember we did like a it was like a Sunday school thing, and I always like doing it because my daughter would go to Sunday school, so she'd be like, "My dad's teaching. This is so cool." And they did like like a Palm Sunday thing where Christ is riding in on a donkey.
Yeah.
So it was like I was like walking on all fours. My daughter was on my back, and they're like with the palms or whatever. We're like teaching them about the story. It's like the first time they ever heard it. So I think that kind of stuff is fun. But the Sunday service, come on, y'all.
Dude, exactly. So the thing is, like, there is a time to make a fool out of yourself. There's a time to
Yes.
embarrass yourself. This is not it. This is not the way. At representing yourself as, let's just say, like church, this is God's revelation that's supposed to be coming forward, people.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's been revealed to us that saves us, because without revelation, we will perish. There's a natural world around us. Attributes of God are in it. We can't put it all together. This is what it means when he says to Adam after Adam sins. He says to Adam, you're going to try to harvest the ground. It's not going to give you anything back easily. This is a direct reference in the nutrition that he's talking about of the food and whatnot to meaning. Yeah. It's a direct reference. So the idea is there's a way, it's going to be hard to look out at the world and know what things mean without revelation. But Christ steps in. We have the revelation. We don't need to do this. We have, the truth has been revealed. We don't have to sit here in 2026 and try to figure out from scratch what these things are, what the Trinity is, how a church service should be run. Like these things have been like graciously given to us and we don't have to make them up. And you can be free of being made a clown by stopping and going to the Orthodox Church. Like, yeah. I want to help, but it's not a good look, because I mean, the look, it kind of hurts us to people outside of the church, because the thing is, when I come on a podcast and people ask if I'm a Christian or something like that, I say yes. They think of this stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
They think of this stuff. And I have to explain for 15 minutes why I'm not an idiot doing this stuff anymore.
So true.
Now, you're 4 people on the screen. I don't mean to say you're an idiot. I was an idiot when I did it. I'll speak for myself.
There you go. Tony from Hello Listener has commented. He said, "Oh, Dirt Poor Robins, my friend actually showed me their music recently. Good stuff." So you get a thumbs up from Tony from Hello Listener.
Hey man, I feel glad that I feel glad that I say good things about you now, especially. So thank you.
There you go.
I just thought a stream was cool, but I didn't know what it was. I was being shown it.
My favorite Hello Listener stream to tune into is when he's just like humming into the microphone and the background is going absolutely crazy. Or he's like, or the Ortho Thug streams where they'll have like a guest's face in like an orb. Like it's always the craziest editing, but it looks.
I love
it
that.
looks
Yeah.
so awesome. Monty became a member. Thanks for becoming a member. Let's get back into this. I want to see
Yeah,
what,
next.
see what they're going to do here with this one. So I'm assuming Indiana Jones, maybe.
Yep. That's the hat and the fedora and the bomber jacket are suggesting it. Yeah.
Terrible, but you've turned it into a den of thieves. Ah!
Proceed.
I wash my hands of you.
Oh, that was it for the one. So they were just whipping Indiana Jones. So now we moved on to Star Trek. Do you have any comments about the Indiana Jones whipping scene? That was kind of quick.
Listen. Okay, I'll give them this. If they should have chosen Raiders of the Lost Ark, because that is the most interesting story from a Christian perspective, and it had room for this. So an artistic merit. So Indiana Jones is such an important story, the first one. Here's why. The whole entire am I lagging?
No, you're not. You're fine.
Okay, great. I just thought the screen skipped. So anyway, in Indiana Jones, I did a breakdown of this with Jonathan Peugeot. It's so cool because the story is really in a small way about Pascal's wager, because Indiana Jones is like he has this talk with his friend before he goes to find the Ark of the Covenant, and he's explaining like how dangerous this could be, this item, the Ark of the Covenant, what it meant, and he's like, Brody, I don't go for that stuff, but like I don't. I also they use a gun to symbolize like Pascal's wager in the sense that he's like, but also, I play it safe. So anyway, he moves on. The story is the perfect battle between materialism and, let's say, an integration of nature and spirituality. So the Nazis in the story, right? There's this coin, and they're trying to get this coin so that they can find the location of the Ark of the Covenant. If they place it in this temple at the right day on the right time of year, the sun will shine through it. They'll see the temple. Okay. There's a battle at a bar with the Nazis and Indiana Jones, and the Nazi picks up the coin out of the fire and it burns the imprint. Have you seen this movie? I imagine everybody sees the movie, and I'm not spoiling a 45-year-old movie.
Spoilers.
Okay.
What are you doing?
So he thinks he has the pattern for the coin and they can recreate it. Indiana Jones has the whole coin, because Indiana Jones just doesn't see the Ark of the Covenant as like a way to get power in the world. He also sees the story of it. He respects the narrative, thinks it belongs somewhere different than in the Nazis' hands, right? So in the end, the Nazis end up looking in the wrong place because it's materialism. They have one half of the coin. They have the earth, the power of it. They don't have the spirit of it. So Indiana Jones has both sides of the coin, and this is so perfectly represented because this is kind of what's at stake in our meaning crisis, or what we're calling like the need to re-enchant the world, because it's lost its spirited view of reality, the angels, the demons, heaven and hell, God, the saints. So in the end of the story, Indiana Jones survives because he has the other side of the coin, which is he respects the story of the Ark, and he tells Miriam as it's being opened and people's faces are melting like wax, which was the coolest thing I'd ever seen as a kid. Just watching people's skin peel off their face and melt.
Yeah, that was cool.
Is that he closes his eyes and he refuses to open them, and they live. So like that's a great story as far as recapturing, let's say, an escape from scientism and materialism, the respect for the narrative. So great story. Could have done something with that. They didn't. They went right for the straight one-for-one analogy, which puts a terrible image in our head that Indiana Jones, who's this guy, who he's a stoic kind of hero. He's not doing it out of love for us, right? And they bring Indiana Jones in the story and they make him an analogy for Christ and whip him. It's not a good stand-in, right? It's not like what C.S. Lewis did with the stone table in Aslan, where he just takes it so far outside of it that he actually uses this to show you something you may have missed in the story, as opposed to these people that you have to do a ton of work as an audience member to figure out how that person is Christ. And you learn nothing new about Christ watching this. You hopefully correct the errors in their theology as you watch it. That's a problem. That's a bad decision spiritually and artistically. I'm giving them 1 out of 10 stars for taking the best Indiana Jones movie. I know most people think it's the Holy Grail one. I still think it's the first one for the reason of the profound nature of the story. So I give them no points. That's the worst one, even though we only saw a tiny clip, because they destroyed a great movie, included heresy, and then forced me as an audience member to actually create the story myself so it would be accurate. Does that make sense?
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Let's see if the Star Trek one gets a better rating. We're gonna rank these horrible Easter plays here.
I wash my hands of you.
Even the audience is laughing.
Well, I don't know what their part of the story they're telling you.
From the dead would see.
Well, he said, "I wash my hands of you," and then he immediately killed the guy. So there's
so they just I missed it. So they skipped a lot of important events.
Yep. So all right. So that was it. So he said, "I washed my hands of you," and then he shot him in the stomach.
Okay. No, listen.
So they didn't even try to skip to any kind of biblical narrative. It was Pilate killed Christ.
I get it. I gotta remember, we're watching just the deaths too in this complication. Worst deaths. Okay.
Yes.
I don't mind this Star Trek. One, what they're doing is nerdy, and the choice is nerdy, and so I see complete synergy there. So far, they're off to the races, because they're doing a nerdy idea through a nerdy template. Now, again, don't mind. I grew up watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'm not a Star Trek fan, but we also, as a Star Trek fan, we also kind of understand what it's like to everybody else who isn't. We're pretty lame if we are. So, but yeah, 1 for 1, they match the cringiness of their choice and their content. I think the death was a major loss. Again, I see a theme developing here. We're not learning anything new. We're not having a better understanding of the story. They're not using this to unveil apocalyptically something more in the original story. We're again left having to figure out why someone getting shot with a laser gun that could have been set on stun, which would prove the atheist conspiracy theorists right about Jesus drank some medicine that made him look sleepy, right? So that could be going on. So you could hold that same criticism up to the Star Trek show. It could have just been set for stun people. But no, I am required once again to imagine the meaning of what it means for Christ to pin himself down to the 4 poles of reality, what it means for him to have a crown of thorns on his head, the same circle of thorns is depicted as circling Eden in iconography. None of this was brought for my contemplation. In fact, 0 of the symbols were actually used from the original story. 0 out of 10 stars. Even though I gave them 1 for doing a cringy thing with a cringy idea and those things marrying, in the end, it's all washed out by the absolute fact that the only typological commonality between the story of Christ and this one was that the character died.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That was not even trying. What movie is this supposed to be?
Oh, this could be Les Mis. Wait, no, that's a guy in a military white jacket with a red tie. What is he wearing?
Is this going to be gosh, what is that movie? Warriors. Is this the Warriors?
Yeah, well, no. So obviously, right here, what we have before we start, this is a church going for edge. They're trying to be relevant. And they're trying to be a little edgy. See, they brought their guitar player on stage. Like right now, your mom's already scared about what the skit's going to become, because this could become rock and roll. Like, this is edgy church here. They're going to show us how to use this blue carpeted stage to help the world understand that Christians, we're dangerous too. We're edgy people. We're not all cleaned up and sanitized.
Imagine they did like a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, a Clockwork Orange one would be. I'd have to give them at least 2 out of 10 stars just to start with for doing Clockwork Orange. But let's see what this actually is. I would like to.
People are saying They're saying Warriors. They're saying West Side Story. Somebody said Beetlejuice. Let's see what it ends up being.
Then get him, boys. He's all yours.
Is this the Beat It video?
Oh, you might be right.
Holy crap. Is it? No. Because that's kind of a Michael Jackson-y outfit.
This
No. No. That's, okay.
It doesn't even tell you.
Dude, they get a fail for it not being obvious what they're parodying. Like,
Yeah.
that's the big mistake. Like, how can you get the joke if you don't know what it is? Like, maybe they announced it beforehand, but if you have to tell people... Okay, so this is the thing that happens when you make records. I make records, so I don't have an infinite amount of money like Kanye does when he goes to make a record. But whatever band I'm up against, my record, the person at home doesn't know that what it took to make my record. Like that, I'm making it here in this space. They don't know I'm not in a big studio, whatever. And I can't make excuses for it. So I can't go as you pull up my song and it's shown to you in the algorithm and it comes up and starts streaming. I can't sit there with you and be like, hey, just so you know, I didn't have as much money as everybody else. That's why it doesn't sound as good, right? So I learned right away I have to figure out how to make it sound good. The problem with that idea is just from what we were presented, we should have been able to understand what the heck this was, but we couldn't figure it out, right?
Nope.
Like we had no clue.
This
Okay,
one is
so the
very
problem is
obvious.
this is going to require explanation, which means the idea already fails. Kind of in a sense, if you have an idea and you can't describe it in like one or two sentences, it's probably complex and other people aren't going to understand it. But anyway.
Somebody says this is Pirate of the Crucibian.
Oh my gosh.
Pirates of the Crucibian.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. This one is obvious though. They even got the squid head.
I'm in it right away. I know what we're looking at. We're off to a good start. Pirates are cool.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, okay. But there's a good thing about boats. The apostles were fishermen. We're off to a good start here.
Let's see how well they do.
Yeah.
Why they always got to crucify everybody, dude? They're crucifying Jack Sparrow. The dramatic cutaway.
It is finished.
No.
Everybody does it. They have to do it.
Why? Oh, we've seen this one already. But
Yeah.
the cutaway, that cutaway was intense. That caught me off guard.
Dude, they had a multiple camera shoot going on for that production. That's a big church.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah, but okay, so here's the problem. Here's a problem with fan fiction in general. So I read one time, just for laughs, like there was all this Harry Potter fan fiction online, and I read someone did a Christian rewrite because she thought that Harry Potter series were bad for kids. And in every scene, the Harry Potter characters were instead of just telling a story, instead of like watching action happen, they would stop and explain what the right thing to do would be as a Christian and then do it. And it wasn't enough that they were doing that, like that the lady had to spell it out who wrote the fan fiction, is that she would say things like, in case we didn't know it was good advice, Hermione wisely told them blank, right? Which is really the worst idea in storytelling. If you're stuck in explication, meaning you're just explaining things to people, like things are better shown than just told. But this kind of stuff reminds me of that a little bit, like in the sense that when you try to take another story and Christianize it. So what are you going to do with Jack Sparrow here? You're going to like Jack Sparrow. He's a seedy character. He's an epic character. He's absolutely magnetic and lovable. Is he Christ-like? So now you've got to take that story and you've got to write a Christ-like Jack Sparrow into it. I'm sorry, I'm bored already. Like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because you kind of miss the whole pattern of the pirate in the story. But I'm going to give them a little extra points here for the apostles, a lot of fishermen, a lot of boats, opportunities here to walk on water somewhere in the story. They get 2 out of 10 stars.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think this one probably gets 3.
3
stars. 3 stars just for the quality of it. The cutaway, the multiple cameras, the shock value.
If there was actual cannon fire, if we had seen that, I would give it a 3 too.
Oh, that's true. I liked the squid head.
Yeah. Wait, let me see how many tentacles on them. Maybe they did something typological. Maybe there's like 7 heads with 10 horns. Like, no. All right.
I don't think I can. Oh, there you go. Show me the squid head. There you go.
He is.
There is no typology with that squid head.
And the blue carpet works too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
It's like the ocean.
that is true. It would work if they were doing like a Moses scene or something.
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
let's see. We
No,
already seen
it's
this
still
one.
like I don't want to fool people. Even though I gave it more than a 0, that's still a bad. This is a terrible choice. You're
Yes,
at the
this
wrong
is
church
awful.
if this is happening at your church.
All right, we've seen this one already. But what's this one? Okay, Monty Python.
He's alive!
Is it?
Everybody dance now!
I will suffer at the.
Hold on, pause that. Everybody dance now. Like, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like, one of the things that's happened to me over the last few years, especially after becoming Orthodox, there's like this gratitude that's settled in. Like we've been talking about gratitude a little bit, but it's not cheeky.
No, that's
It's
terrible.
hefty. There's like a weight to it. When I think about the things I'm grateful for, it's like, man, I have trouble not crying. Like it brings a tear to my eye. I get emotional. But also there's this weight to it because there's this undeservingness that we have of this sort of the absolute generosity God has shown for us in adoption, like adopting us into his family through the church. And so the taking that and making it this, it seems like I have to believe that I don't know if the people who are making these decisions understand what I just described, like through experience, or if gratitude seems like, I don't know, like they won a board game. I don't know. It just feels like we're Christians, and so it's like we just have something like a little bit better. I don't know. I don't understand what they're going for with the sort of casual rising from the dead. Like, it brings up serious questions about their understanding of the original story they're trying to include.
I don't think they thought about it too much, Neil. I think this was like somebody's wife was like, I really like this movie. Let's do a parody.
Yeah, but you understand when I talk to people that are cradle Orthodox and I describe to them, even a normal church sometimes like this, the people are like, the old ladies start like clutching their, like, oh no, like they do that. They do that? Like, why would they do that? Why would they do that to, why would they do that to Jesus? Why would they represent him that way? They don't get it. Like for them, it's like they've been, it's so unbeautiful that they don't believe.
-2 out of 10 for that one. That was
-2 out of 10. I like it. I'll go with your score.
Hands of the Joker will die, but in 3 days I will rise again.
Take him over there! String him up!
You're gonna crucify Batman.
For the Cape Crusader, has he had his bat cooked for the last time?
Seize him! String him up!
That's it. Has he had his bat cooked for the last time?
Bro, you're making me like I'm becoming a nihilist. Okay, so let me point out an artistic problem right away. I don't like Superman's story as much as Batman. He would have been a better choice. Batman is Aryan because he's a rich guy who doesn't actually have superpowers, right? He bootstraps his way up. Wait, is this an historian? Am I getting this backwards? It's been a long day. He's not divine in any way. Like he doesn't have any actual powers, Batman. Batman, through skill and practice and desire, creates the tools and means in which to be a superhero. This is closer to Antichrist than that is Christ, if that makes sense. That's my serious artistic flaw with choosing Batman. So that's why I think even Superman wouldn't have been good, but Superman would have been a better choice because Superman he's not of this world. Batman's a regular guy like us who just figured out how to be a superhero. Okay, that's a problem. I know they're not thinking of it that way. They're thinking, wouldn't it be cool to get to play Batman on stage at church? People would love that. They'd be so entertained. The bored dads would want to come. They would tell their friends about it at the water cooler at work. They are going to invite them. I don't imagine that it actually went that way in the end because of what we just saw and how poor it was done. But yeah, that's another 0. I'm sorry.
Yep. What's next? They're going to crucify Blippi. All right. So this one.
That's Iron Man? Or
Shazam? This is going to be Avengers. This is a classic.
I may have seen this one.
So this is, I think everybody's probably seen this one. They crucify Iron Man.
You know, Iron Man, I may have missed the point, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it.
Get knocked down, but I get up again. Never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Never.
I didn't know the Chumbawamba song was in this. I may not have seen this particular one.
Oh, is he moving? How is this possible?
I am Iron Man. Let's hang this kitty.
Is this like a children's church?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That
I've got some bad ideas on my day.
The Iron Man one definitely was not, because there was an apology afterwards. I remember that.
Oh, they had to make an apology?
Yeah, they did. They had an apology or something. And the church that posted the video, they took it down. So you can't find clips of it anywhere except for like clips channels.
Smart. Again, Tony Stark, we run into the same problem we do with Batman, right? He's a normal guy who makes a suit and through technology becomes a superhero. That's not a good story. Also, but in the actual end game, right? Tony Stark's character does something directly like laying down your life for his brothers, you know, where he does the gauntlet to kill it. You know, he puts it on. Sorry, spoiler. So you've seen Avengers. You're going to be fine. Okay, so anyway, Tony Stark, they could have just done that moment. They could have just done Iron Man. And it would have actually worked better than stabbing a guy in a suit and singing Chumbawamba.
Yeah, singing Chumbawamba is rough.
Dude,
well, did you see what
the
he
worst
said?
Song.
Did you see what he said though? At the end, when he got up, he said, "I am Iron Man."
Yeah.
What is that? What does that even mean?
I think maybe they should have definitely gone into the song Iron Man, and then it would have made sense. Yeah, that would have worked.
Dumb sends me, I don't know what IDR is, but 50,000 of it. Hey, Cleve, a little bit off tangent. I saw your shorts with Saki. Are you going to release a full interview on YouTube or is it on another platform? We shot, we were going to do an interview and we didn't have enough to do a full video. So we agreed to like shoot some shorts, but I might try to do maybe a more focused subject and an interview with her later. But so far, all we had was the short that I published there. So I'll probably do something again in the future, but I don't have a full interview to release with that because there's like a little bit of a language barrier. She's very nice, but English isn't her primary language. So it's got to be like very focused. And but it was a wonderful opportunity to get to speak to her. She's a Japanese convert to Orthodoxy. Get a little bit of her testimony as far as the role that Mary played in her conversion, which was very, very beautiful. And I thought that short came out very, very well as well. Matthews Pendragon said, Superman is great. Watch Superman versus the Elite or All-Star Superman for a fantastic Superman story that knows how to write the character. There you go. I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, in the comic world, there's varying versions of Superman. Like the version we're familiar with from like the 30s and the 40s, just in, you know, in the old Max Fleischer comics, those animations are amazing. The character got too strong. Like it became uninteresting. It was like you had to figure out a way to take away his powers to create an interesting episode. Some of the future writing, I mean, you might be referring to some of that where it's a little like, you know what happens with the Dark Knight to Batman, it happens to Superman, and then Superman gets really interesting to me in those. So, you know, the sense of the Dark Knight, it goes like, I mean, so they're doing that Batman thing. They're doing the 1950s or 1960s Batman like camp pastiche thing. They totally should have done Dark Knight. Like, who's not going to think that's cooler than pastiche Batman? I don't know. I don't think what I just said matters.
I like shows where it's like the underdog becomes overpowered. That's interesting to me. Well, I don't know. I think there's some shows that do the good superpowered character thing, like Homelander. Like that's a good overpowered, or the Sentry in comics. Yeah, that's a good overpowered guy. I didn't watch whatever movie he was supposed to be in, but I remember when I read comics, the Sentry was one of my favorite characters, but also because he was insane. That was an interesting thing. Overpowered guy that was just like crazy was cool. All right, let's see. Somebody said they're going to crucify Toucan Sam.
Dude, is that actually Toucan Sam? Is this like cereal? Dude, that would be amazing. Like if this was like all cereal mascots. Like they got Boo Berry and Count Chocula in there with the Lucky Charms dude and Toucan Sam and the honeybee from Honey Nut Cheerios.
That would be a wild cereal crucifixion play. All right, but I think
we got Toucan Sam and we might have Tony the Tiger there. We'll see.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be Lion King, but they got
yeah.
wolves. I don't remember the Lion King having like wolves and stuff. They had hyenas.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't find a hyena costume at the local costume shop.
Probably. That's probably why this guy's dressed up like Toucan Sam.
By its paws and see if Mufasa comes to save
it. Simba is alive.
Oh my goodness. That is a terrifying costume.
Listen, listen, that would be even better if that's actually a white guy in there.
Dude.
Even better if it's a white guy.
That's rough. That's rough. I don't know how you come to church next Sunday when you got the Mufasa is alive.
This is what I mean about making a clown out of people. Oh my gosh. So many things like this happen to me. But go on. Please, I need to see more.
I hate to tell you this, but there is no way Simba is getting out of this one.
What? I don't
Pause.
believe it. I thought.
Pause. We just heard the worst cartoon voice in the history of cartoon voices. Can you just like that guy chose that voice? Go back. We need to hear that again. That was probably the worst voice acting I've ever heard. I hope he's not listening.
Hold on, I didn't go far back enough. Hold on.
He's alive.
I hate to tell you this, but there is no way Simba is getting out of this one.
What? I don't believe it. I thought you.
I hate to tell you this, but
have you ever tried to act?
At me? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a thing that happens every once in a while you're acting because like I feel like I can tell when someone is acting well, but when I first tried to act, I couldn't figure out how to sound natural. Now, if I had to play a prank on you, I could totally convince you whatever prank I was doing was real. But when it came to reading a script and someone else's lines, when I would talk, it was like someone else was talking through me who was trying to make me sound bad.
He sounds
I feel like that guy.
All right, good.
Yeah, I feel like that guy, the way he did that, that would have been a career-ending injury for me. If I spoke and it came out like that, bad acting and quality of voice is amazing. That's the worst voice ever created.
He sounded like he was doing a Mickey Mouse impression.
It's worse than my Mickey Mouse.
He's like,
I do a bad one.
Oh, they crucified Goofy.
Oh, yeah, but he was terrible. Oh, God bless him. Is this a lion in a wheelchair? What's happening here?
This is a lion in a wheelchair. Let's see.
Yeah, that's fine. Get the handicap lion, Jesus.
We're dead. I was dead, but I have risen, and I will live forevermore.
Get thee behind.
A woman lion, Jesus, in a not wheelchair, but a chair they carry out.
Are we sure we just don't have a guy who needs to do some push-ups? What's going on?
Yeah. Like, Monkey Micah says I could record drums with 2 SM57s and a Scarlett 2i2. I don't know what any of those things mean, but you might.
Well, listen, he may have watched another video of mine because I've done a setup like that before, and you can actually make it sound kind of cool. But that's going to be boring to everybody else if I go onto a diatribe about that. Back to what we're looking at here. I think that this actor's antiquities are showing a little bit.
That's antiquities.
Like, what the heck? So you think that's... I can't tell. Just hit play a little bit. Let's see what we have.
All right, let's watch this one.
Is this a female Luke Skywalker? No, that's a guy. I told you.
Never join you.
That is a guy, yes.
I get it right. You get it wrong. You have to apologize to him.
No, the lion was a woman.
Oh, the lion was a... Oh, my gosh, yes. Okay, I just saw Luke on the screen. I thought this was what we were talking about.
No,
begins with the letter L. My mistake. You're correct. That is definitely a woman.
And I will live forevermore.
Get thee
Perfect.
That was a woman lion, Jesus.
Yes. And Luke to antiquity.
Yeah.
This is
obviously a man.
Okay, got it.
That's funny. Vigo says Bible Man's low diffs Superman Prime 1 million. Is that English? What did you say, Vigo? Clarify your statement. I don't know what you
Oh,
mean.
that might be the name of the series.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Snagglebeast, $10. Thank you so much. Even before I became Orthodox, learning more about the faith ruined Jesus Christ Superstar for me. Tim Rice was a horrible writer. The only theological less is that no one got it right.
Yeah. Okay. But so Tim Rice, he's bad with story. He's pretty good with lyrics, though. Still, like Tim Rice is a good lyricist. So he picked up for. Sorry, this might be boring to people because I happen to have an interest in musical theater. But Howard Ashman was Alan Menken's partner on all of like the big, like, well, Little Shop of Horrors, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. Those guys were awesome. Tim Rice took over during Aladdin when Howard Ashman died of AIDS. And so Tim Rice, they lost the magic a little bit with him, but he's still a good lyric writer. The libretto, which is called that's the story in a musical or an opera. In Jesus Christ Superstar, the libretto is told from the perspective of Judas. So you got a problem with the storytelling to begin with, because now if you're going to tell it from the perspective of Judas, you've got the problem that Jesus needs to say things as Judas heard them instead of as Jesus actually said them. That's going to be the thing you're probably run into with Jesus Christ Superstar. But also don't forget, like, that musical, like, was super revolutionary at the time. What's his name? Who's the guy who wrote Phantom of the Opera and everything? Oh, that isn't. Oh, I can't remember his name now. The guy who wrote Jesus Christ Superstar. I'm being totally stupid. Anyway, he wrote that very young. That was his best musical. He fell apart after that. But if you go back and watch the original Jesus Christ Superstar, and you remember that musicals used to be like Bye Bye Birdie, that thing is kind of cool. Like the performances, like go look up Gethsemane, like the Jesus song he sings with all the high notes. Such a cool performance. So anyway, Jesus Christ Superstar is still probably better than this. So can we continue with the with our masculine Luke that I thought you were calling feminine?
Yes, this is very obviously not a woman.
I feel better about you now that I know.
I was trying to see if I could hop over on Kick, because I'm dual streaming Rumble, Kick, and YouTube, and there's like a really cringy spam bot that's spamming my comments, but it's not worth me pulling up the thing.
Oh, what's it saying?
It's I don't even want to repeat it on the stream. It's just ridiculous.
Okay.
All right, let's check this out. So this is
Everybody rushes over to the platform to see it.
Yeah, everybody go to Kick. Well, I think they can see the comments in the YouTube thing.
Okay.
I think it goes to both. But let's see. This Star Wars. We had Star Trek already. Now we got Star Wars. Let's see what they do with it.
Find me, Vader. I will never join you.
I am your father.
No, you are a liar and the father of all lies. Don't worry, Leia. I have a plan.
No!
Killed himself?
Well, into the carbon. He's freezing himself in carbonite. Why do they always have to dance?
I don't know.
I think it shows aspirationally that they're really part of the motivation for this is not just like you think it's good for the church. Part of the motivation is like, I'd like to be able to do this on a stage.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, okay. Problems in the story of Star Wars. Now, Star Wars, we at least have good and evil. The problem is in the Star Wars universe is that evil has an ontological status. If people understand that. So in other words, it's a dualistic system. It's not like the evil, the dark side of the force is a privation of the good side of the force. It's an actual equal and opposing yin-yang entity, not necessarily a Christian idea here, folks. So that's a problem. I have to give him a little credit for trying to stay coherent. So the idea that, like, because it's Han Solo that gets put into the carbonite, that Luke puts himself in the carbonite, okay, a couple of points for at least trying to stay within the motif and genre. 0 points because this still holds up to the atheist claim of, like, the radical, weird atheist claim that somehow Jesus faked his death. We know that Han Solo doesn't die in the carbonite. He doesn't actually die. So I'm afraid they've completely flunked the project, the assignment. The teacher's going to have to give them an F on this one, even though they try to stay truer within the actual story.
Rich says, so Darth Vader is Luke's father. Talk about mixed messages, because they were trying to make him a Satan figure.
Yeah.
Oh, not good. That's bad.
You know, definitely. So, I mean, so they got some problems. So there might have been a worse one for me to bring up than the ontological status of the dark side of the Force is that the Darth Vader is Luke's father is pretty much a kill shot for this being a Christian story.
Yeah, that's a bit that I don't even want to think about the symbolism of that. That is horrific.
Well, okay, so what they could have done is they could have done Moses.
Yeah.
They could have done Moses, right? Because he's with Pharaoh, right? You know, and that's not his family. And they could have done something lower.
Or the Pharaoh, the devil figure, and then yeah.
Yeah, they could have done that. And then Egypt has a positive status, but Egypt is more like, well, I guess this works too, because Egypt is like, you know, the patterns of Leviathan and Behemoth in scripture. Leviathan is like it's like the immovable, no, it's not the movable object, it's the irresistible force. So it's like the chaotic edge of the world, the power of the ocean, all these things that could overpower you as a small human being in the world. Like Leviathan represents this like chaos. Behemoth is like represents the spirit of civilization. So like the fact that when you're talking about Behemoth, it's the idea that like there's this totalizing system that aids you in every way or can see you in every way. So Egypt stands in for a behemoth in that story, in the sense that if you think about Noah's story, I'm getting typology here, this might help your audience. But in Noah's story, it's an ark that he builds that goes out and the whole world is chaos. It's Leviathan, it's water, it's unlivable. There's nowhere to build. Okay. In the story of, there's a recapitulation of that same pattern in the story, is that there's a little ark built and it's pushed out on the little river. And so in its smallness next to Egypt, we see Egypt as the whole world is been taken over by this civilization. So it's like civilization versus nature in the two stories kind of thing. So that's a long way of teaching you typology just to tell you in this story that Star Wars would have worked better again in the Moses story, because the Empire could represent Behemoth, especially when you get into like, what's that planet that's all city? You know, in Star Wars, someone's going to say it in the comments right now. They're really excited to be typing it in. They're so excited to type it in right now, and I love them for it. So
Neil's over here planning the next Easter play, no, or whenever we celebrate the Moses story. How about that?
You can imagine like this Cleve,
insane Easter play.
Let's imagine some Protestants who do this kind of thing stop by.
Coruscant.
Now, yeah, right. Coruscant. That's it. Okay, so I can't necessarily make them like in one move get them more interested in orthodoxy, but at the very least, we can help them not subject their people to something like this. This is why I bother to credit.
That's true.
I have to comment on the artistry of it, because there's still something worth commenting, because there's an artistic choice being made here. And artistic choices are kind of like this. So let's imagine like if you went to a Chinese restaurant, right? And you're looking at the menu and you see spaghetti marinara on the menu. Something's wrong. Like it's not a Chinese dish. It's an Italian dish, right? So some of the artistic decisions I'm pointing out here, like the idea that they wanted to put Luke in carbonite, at least they stayed in the same restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Like we saw stuff earlier where they just left the restaurant. Like they they added crucifixion to stories where there's no crosses, you know? At least they try to find a means of death that was native to the actual universe and the story. So I'm trying, if this is your church and you're committed to it, I think I could do some good by helping you make it not as bad.
There you go. That's a positive outlook on that.
But I don't think you should be doing any of this. I think this is all unhelpful.
Someone said the city is called Croissant.
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 A very French croissant.
Jimmy's mom. I can't do a good impression there. Oh, there you go. We got Marco, Mr. IBS himself. What's going on in between Sundays, Mr. IBS? Give me WIBS in the chat for Mr. IBS popping into the stream. Marco himself. He says, I leave the stream for like 90 minutes and then come back to this. Everybody spam WIBS in the chat. This is actually the last one. This is the last play here. So we can wrap up with this one. But let me just read these last two super chats because we did just hit goal. Templar with 07. Salute. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Iron Giant Man 007 says, you think this is bad? Look up Evangelical movie Assassin 33 AD. It's about Muslims getting a time machine. Lord of mercy. That sounds like a big cringe fest.
Well, or it could be amazing.
Yeah, it could also be
You
amazing.
know, so the thing is, like, if it's not under the context of church and like a Christian story, like, I think have you seen The Life of Brian?
Yes.
You know, it's irreverent, but it is hilarious. Like, there's some stuff that, like, oh, I don't think they should have made that joke. But at the same time, you can kind of pick through it and be like, oh my gosh, this is really funny stuff. So, outside of the context of, like, if you're not presenting it as because the church presents things in clarity.
They said it's Muslims getting a time machine to kill Jesus. I don't think I want to watch that movie.
They don't succeed, I have a feeling.
Lord have mercy. Well, I don't know. If it might be like a low budget Muslim movie.
That'd be cringy.
Yeah,
okay. So what are we looking at here? I see a Mr. Potato Head, a Buzz Lightyear. They would have been done better to give him some beers and call him Buzz Light Beer. I know they haven't started, but this character, this pink bear thing, it seems like to be the main character before we've started. Do you know who this is? Like, I don't know who that character is.
Yeah, that's from the new Toy Story.
The bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, yeah.
Bear.
Toy Story 3.
Yes.
4,
3. He's the evil bear that wants to toss
at the daycare.
Grinder.
Okay.
All right, let's see a Toy Story crucifixion. Everybody in the chat, let me know who you think is going to get crucified. Is it Mr. Potato Head? Is it the bear? Is it this penguin? Is it Buzz Lightyear? Let me know who's getting crucified. Somebody let me know in the chat. Somebody said Woody. Woody's getting crucified. Lord have mercy. All right, let's see what happens. This is the last one. Let's get this over with. 3, 2, 1.
There is what you see around you. What is important for us is that we just enjoy ourselves every day we have. All this fretting about what happens when you leave Andy's room is an exercise in futility. We had the very same problem on Sector 4.
Sector 4? Wait a minute.
Oh, it's Buzz.
It is finished.
The toy box?
Hold on. It's jumping into a new thing. Anyway.
Hey, my head's enormous now. Let me back up. my beard, like, it's so funny. Like, every once in a while I catch myself in a mirror and I'm like just about 6'1". You've been around me. My head looks so enormous on my body with this. Like, I'm growing my hair out a little bit. And
Doc.
This beard. My head. I look like a mascot. Like, you could open my head and there should be a smaller version of me in it now. Anyway, that's like a whole other level of bad. That had to be like a kids ministry thing. No, like, I don't want to judge.
No, I'm telling you, these are like
that's like an adult church.
Yes. These are the plays. These are the Easter plays.
Dude, what are these people? Furries? Like, what's going on? Dude.
I don't know, man. It's a mess. These things are extremely cringy. But with this one, it's like they just forced it in there. It's like, okay, well, you got to die. So when you die, at least put your arms out. Like, that's the extent of it. Long story short, though, if you're in a mega church and this is what's going on, you don't have to subject yourself to this. There are churches with very reverent liturgies. There are churches that have actual worship. Actually, there's one, right?
It goes all the way back. Yes. I mean, that's a great so the problem is how we think about things in the 21st century is that we show up in the middle of this story. We show up in a world like my parents' generation. God bless them. The world took it to them. They had them hiding under desks to hide from nuclear bombs that were going to be dropped on them in the Cold War. You know what I mean? They would do drills. Like, imagine as a kid, like, hiding under a desk because you got to be prepared for a bomb that just is going to eviscerate you in the Cold War.
Lord of mercy.
All of the medicine stuff that was applied to them, all the stories, all the politics, and they just, like, there was like a real mono narrative and they all got sucked into it. And then they raised us and we have all this technology. They don't know what to do with us. And
you didn't do that as a kid? You didn't do the nuke drills or whatever?
Oh, we didn't do nuke drills. No. Did you?
We did that. We did that when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
They said,
we never did it. We did fire drills.
That's going to do anything if you get nuked.
Dude,
it's hiding under my desk. What is that going to do?
Dude, I swear it's propaganda. It's meant to produce something. And the problem is it's traumatizing. Like you don't know what to do with that as a kid. Like our Einstein said our technology surpassed our humanity, meaning that like back in the day, let's say you had a king, things start to change for the worse. Let's imagine like so cities would influence the world in a big way. So like New York City and Los Angeles have been a big influence on America. But we can see changes happening in those cities. We understand that they're ahead of the curve and we have time to react as a civilization. Like technology has moved things so fast and so far. We don't have time to change the way we did where we would start questioning it, investigating it, talk about it at church. Things where by the time people are catching up to like what's going on in the world, there's already like 10 new things to react to. So people at these churches, they're born to this world and maybe their experience before this, maybe they're a convert to it. Maybe their experience before this was bad. And maybe they're having a better experience now. Maybe they are hoping that they were born in the right spot in this world, that no investigation is required, that where their family dropped them off was completely good. I mean, we're kids and we have to hope our parents like can do a decent job of raising us and sending us out in the world because we don't have another hope. We don't have anybody else to do it. So you kind of have to assume your parents are competent. You assume your scenario is competent.
Right.
But in the 21st century, when you talk to people about different churches, we've been trained to shop for everything. So it's like this pro and con list of shopping. Here's what it has to be. And you know this when I say it. All of you know this when I say it. It has to be about the truth. It can't be about your preferences. It can't be about what you're comfortable with. I read scripture. I go to church. I'm presented with things that aren't native to me. In other words, like if you hear something that God's asking of you and you don't want to do it, you have to hold yourself in contempt, not God, right? So the problem is in the modern world, when it's come to evaluate the Orthodox Church, we kind of think about it from that perspective. So if you're maybe like you're not looking for a church, you're kind of happy in your environment, you don't realize that what you're doing is anemic and detached from what Christ left. You don't realize it. You don't know. So you want to defend it. Of course you do. The problem is if you look at it from like a 21st century perspective, you're going to choose from preferences. It's going to be super confusing because you actually have to go back like to the Bible that we all love. And when you read the book of Acts, you're going to see a different church than the one you go to. Like nothing we saw, none of what was motivating what we saw is even suggested in the book of Acts, right?
Right.
But we do see something that was strange to me as a Protestant where it's like, okay, these guys, hey, we found these believers over here, but they only had John's baptism. They didn't have the apostolic baptism. They didn't have hands laid on it by the apostles or the priests or the bishops. So they would send the apostles to pray for them, right? And to lay hands on them, and then we'd see like a little miniature Pentecost happen where this person would speak in tongues or something like that. This idea was so lost to me because I was evaluating everything as if here's all these different organizations I could pick from. And what I have to do is figure out who has the best ideas, and that's where I go. Well, thank God that's not what God left us. Like that's not what Christ left us in his church. He planted the apostles. He gave all authority to that church. He gave authority to those people. And they went out and laid hands on people, and they trained, and they appointed priests and bishops. And that's why Paul is telling Timothy, like, if anybody else pops up around there and they didn't come through you, I give you permission alone to lay hands on these people. There's a visible church immediately where people could tell who belonged to the church and who was outside. Christ prayed that the church would remain one. This was the faith given once and for all the apostles. You don't have to settle it on your taste in the 21st century. Like you can go back and look to see where this started and where it went. And you're going to be surprised at first because there might be a number of things that just actually send off warning flags, like make the hair stand up on your arms. You're like, oh, like, did they just bow? Did they kneel, like put their head to the floor while they were praying? Like, what's going, isn't that a Muslim thing? No, the Muslims stole it. But anyway, never mind. But all these things is like our job. Like if you're someone who reads the Bible and thinks it's true, your job is to read the Bible and notice, like it says in James, like to hold it up to you like a mirror, right? And who would walk away from that mirror with dirt on their face and not clean it? So the idea is it's going to expose The faith is going to expose that there's dirt on you, right? Okay, so you should be used to already the idea of holding yourself in contempt because you don't love the things God loves yet. You're doing things and you love to do things and desire to do things that are not going to be helpful for you in God, that are going to make you sicker. They're going to put you under demonic oppression, that are going to, all these things that can come out of it. So you have to flee from those things. Well, like you really have to do yourself a favor. Cleve's channel, they cover it all the time. Like people like Alex Soren, Jay Dyer, Father Stephen DeYoung, who we saw on here. Who's Kyle King? What's his channel called?
Barrel Age Faith.
Barrel Age Faith. Like they're helping you see it the other way around. Like they're one of the things we're really bad at in the modern world is creating a model of the ancient world we can walk around in, because we're so used to, for political purposes, framing up the past as men dragged women around by their hair and hit them with a club. And that's not a real model of the past. We can't walk around in that model and understand what people were like. Because if you pick up literature, let's say it's like someone saying like, oh, the 1500s, look at what men were like and what women were like. If you pick up literature, you don't see that same world. And by those myths and by those stories, we actually, by reading them and seeing what the people loved and thought was important and worth preserving, we get a better sense of what it's like to walk around in that space. The Bible is that thing. Like this is in the early liturgies and lectionaries. That's how we found it. Like that's how you have it today, whether you're part of the Orthodox Church or not, because they preserve this for you. So what I'm suggesting here is that the Orthodox Church and the church that Christ planted is not just another organization with good ideas. It's entirely separate. It's something that nothing else exists like it on the earth, that God gave us the free gifts of grace through the mysteries of the church, which you might hear a modern Western world use like sacraments. That's really important to understand, because it's not just a bunch of people doing mere symbolism and remembrance and in memorial. We're doing these things. No, these things, our faith is alive, and it's alive today, and we can participate in it. We can participate with Christ directly. We can participate with everyone in our family who's gone on, like our Christian family. And just like you go back and look at a picture of yourself when you're 4, even though every cell in your body is replaced, even though you don't even think like that 4-year-old anymore, you still know it's you because of your memories. The Orthodox Church has held on to the memories of that body continually, so that when Cleve and I here, we go back and read St. Ignatius, we hear our faith in it. You know, these people who are quote mining St. Augustine, when they go back and read St. Augustine, they're not going to see their church in it. They're going to have to find like a little quote where they think he's referring to election in the same way they are, or something like that, right? So you have to do yourself the favor of just whatever the cost, you're here for the truth, and you're going to let the truth hold who you currently are in contempt. We know that's our job as a Christian. You probably, if you're involved in a church like this, you're going to need to take it a lot farther, because that church can never at any point become the Orthodox Church. It's not part of this, but anyone in that church can become Orthodox in the Orthodox Church. So it's not like they're cut off. So when you hear people say, like the Orthodox say, this is where the church is and this is where the church isn't, kind of thing, it's not an exclusionary statement, because we're telling you the hospital's open. Like it's open for business. And I understand that sounds like really exclusionary to Protestants, but the problem is you have to do this too, and you have to do it in a worse way. For example, if you think that it's a confession of faith that saves you, you're telling everyone you've ever talked to, if they haven't made that same exact confession of faith as you, where are they going when they die? Like you're cutting way more people out with this, and you're giving them a way more abstract way in, that they're supposed to somehow like internally like figure out that they believe enough to be in favor with God. That's an anxiety exercise of pride I don't want to have to go through anymore. It's a very different thing. The church, as much as we have an internal confession to Christ and faith in him, it's the church, his church, that makes us a Christian, that accepts us and brings us in. I'm a Christian because I was baptized into the church, not because I say that I think I believe enough. So you could be, there's so much anxiety, there's so much more fullness, there's so many more things you could have in Christ than you even know about. So you have to become at least willing to make the investigation. The way I would suggest making that investigation, you could start with one of these channels that's biased, or you can start trying to look into history yourself and go back and look at what Jesus did with the apostles and what he left. And guess what? Like, the apostolic fathers, like the generations. There are people that came just after the apostles that told us what the church was doing. There are people that came after them that told us what the church was doing. If you go and do that, you realize that that church is still here and is still doing that thing liturgically. So this was mind blowing to me. But when I first woke up to the fact that like the church in the book of Acts was not my church anywhere I went before I was Orthodox, when I woke up to that, it was a different world. I'd never heard of Orthodoxy. I didn't know where to find it. I was looking my butt off. Like looking my butt off is an expression I will never use again because it sounds so weird. Okay, so I was searching as hard as I could, and it wasn't until like 10 years later that here I was like through Jonathan Peugeot. And actually Jordan Peterson who introduced me to him. Like I finally heard about it for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't have to reinvent it. I don't have to figure out how to fix all the doctrinal errors and mental illness in my church so that we can get back to being the church in Acts. That church, that body is still here. It's never been broken as it was promised. It's still one just as Jesus prayed. And it's the Orthodox Church. So that's an assertion I'm making. I told you, if you're serious about it, how to look into it, because it's on you. Like if you're like, again, I'm talking to mostly people that probably agree with this, but if you stumble across this video, it's on you to get to the bottom of this. I can't, like, I'm not your neighbor. Like I can't do it with you. I can't hound you about doing it. But it's definitely like, if you understand what I just said, like the early church that was handed off has persisted until this day, and it's not the same as your church. In fact, you're going to find that it's very different. I think that's something that you should really look into. I don't know why you wouldn't. So that's kind of like, that's my last thing I wanted to say this evening after watching all this. I normally don't say stuff like this, Cleve, but it made me so sad to think that this is what people are going to looking for answers like that. Like that was their Easter. Like, do you know what our Easter service is like? People, please taste and see. You don't have to do this. It's so you were given something so much better. You were given something so much better. Anyway, I normally don't proselytize or preach like that. Like everything we just watched, it's hilarious and an absolute scandal and a crisis. Get out of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that okay? Did I go too far with what I said? Do you want to correct me on anything? Do you need any
No,
adjustments?
I thought that was
Okay.
good.
right.
I think the part that really stood out to me was actually pretty profound. You were reading the church fathers and you didn't see your church in it, but in the Orthodox Church, you go back and you read the fathers and you do see your church in it. It's familiar to you. That resonates, I think, with a lot of people from a Protestant background or even Mormon background, or, any of these other traditions, because it is true. You kind of do have to cherry pick a bit. Even I would say Roman Catholics to an extent.
Well, because the papacy.
Church fathers. Yes.
The papacy, they say that's there. It's like, great. You said it, you're making an assertion. Like, I would love to see anyone who acts like that's the case.
Even some of their modern theological concepts. But then again, I don't know how many people are. The problem is, I think a lot of people, I'll leave that comment to myself. How about that?
Yeah.
Good Godfather. Good to see you, man. He was in the Convert documentary. He's a musician as well, Orthodox musician. Almost finished with my first LP in 20 years.
Wait, who is this? Who's this person's real name? Do I know them?
Maybe.
Hey, find me and send me your LP. I want to hear it.
There you go.
Not like a physical copy. Don't spend money on me. Just send me a link.
There you go. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. This has been a fun stream. Anything you want to plug?
Well, I love plugging my band, Dirt Poor Robins. I'd like to plug for my friend Jonathan Peugeot, if you know him. I'm going to be at the conference. We can't sing because I'm doing a movie, which means we can't prepare and get our stuff there in time. So I just will be making an appearance and hanging out. But Father Josiah is there, Mary Harrington, who's a brilliant thinker, Jonathan Peugeot, Deacon Seraphim, formerly known as Richard Rowland. It's going to be a cool crew. I think Isaac Hansen from the Hansons coming too. He's coming to hang out. We met last year. That's going to be a great conference. The conference you talked about in November, we're going to be doing again this year, but way bigger, and probably in St. Augustine, which is my favorite city in America. Most beautiful, oldest city in America. It's the most Orthodox looking city, and it has an Orthodox shrine. So we're going to be doing that. New single coming out. Please follow in my band and support us. So doing things like I'm doing here, like, gets me in trouble all the time. Like, go look on Reddit to see what they say about us. Like, we've Jordan Peterson's brought us out on tour with him, hanging out with Jonathan Peugeot. these are our friends. These are people we don't align everything, but there is such a sensitive population out there that just tries to hang up on you all the time. So we have a constantly rotating fan base of people that don't want to follow us because we're Christians, but fell in love with the music and are very sad about it. So the more support we have from people that get where we're going and what we're doing with this, the more that helps us. At the same time, our music is for everybody. We're not making like something that's like only understandable to Christians at all, or will like somehow secretly against your will make you a Christian. That's not what we're making.
Only if you play it backwards. So you play the record backwards. No.
But to the people that think that the Christian story has been so short sold to them because of things like we watched tonight, what Ben and I, Cleveland Antiquity, are talking about here is a very different tradition that is wow, even philosophically, I don't even think the greatest philosophers in the world can even come close to rivaling its profound nature. I don't think there's a single style of architecture that beats our best churches. I think it's the tops. So anyway, Dirt Poor Robbins, dirtpoorrobbins.com. My YouTube channel, I'm close to 40,000 subscribers. Come over and subscribe. I might do a party for that. But outside of that, be on the lookout for the movies we're doing this year. Christianities, I'm doing the music in a movie called Heading East, which is a beautiful Orthodox movie about the growth of the Orthodox Church in the world. And that's a really cool story. So that's what I have coming up. And hopefully we can get on here and talk again and kick some tires on these mega churches, because it was fun and sad. It's sad. Yeah. It's sad, but it's funny. I'm kind of glad that it's both, because like the laughing helps me not to be too sad about it. So,
well, you should watch some of the Catholic news streams. Those are just
no, they're too much, dude. They're too much, dude. It's unbelievable.
They are pretty bad. The Catholic news streams. It is like a back to back like brain blast of the worst news you could possibly hear. But it's all from just that week, or like 2 weeks. You know, but it's insane.
Can you imagine these poor apologists?
Yeah.
Like the Catholic apologists, because they're getting money from like Catholic Church, like throws a lot of money into some of these channels and these things. So, and they're really committed, but like, just imagine if if like any of those stories you read, like imagine if 2 of those stories you read appeared in the Orthodox Church in a year. Like they don't. I mean, bad things can happen anywhere, but like this level of like off the rails, can you imagine having to be part of a faith and like cope and defend that? Because, whatever, people always assume when something goes wrong in their faith that it's not something in a tailment of what they believe. Catholicism is starting to look like that. It's starting to look like it. This is just like what it produces. Sadly, I know. Now, again, I know great Catholic people I love. I love Catholics. But sure, come on over.
Yes, come over. If you've seen the Catholic news streams and you come to the church and you see me at coffee hour, let me know. I want to hear your stories.
Yes.
But
awesome.
Anyway, I appreciate you all watching the stream. I am getting kind of sleepy, so I'm gonna call it here. Let me plug one thing before we go. I have another stream coming up Thursday. I already talked about it earlier in the stream, but I'll go ahead and plug it again. We're going to do why so many Mormons are coming to Orthodoxy. This will be Thursday at 8 p.m. So that's the next show. Get pumped up for that. Also, let me know in the comments if you're watching this. Do you want to see? So Joshua Shuping made a part 2 video. So we reacted to the part 1 with Alex Soren. Let me know if you want to see us react to a part 2, because he just put that out today and it's bad, if not worse than the part 1. So let me know what you think about that. But thank you.
Yeah, I really want to hear that stream you're doing Thursday. That sounds super interesting, because I'm noticing the same thing like locally here. I'm noticing people coming in from LDS. And now I won't be able to watch it live Thursday night. So a lot of Orthodox people are going to be at the service of the 12 Gospels. And so make sure you come back and watch that. I'm going to come back and watch that. So, awesome. Yeah, man. Good times.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and thanks for coming on, Neil. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. God bless.